What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the latest episode of FlagPlus Football's First and Goal podcast. I'm your host, Brent Bodkin.
And I'm Quaysie.
All right, so welcome, everybody. We are in the home stretch, crunch time for the regular season. A lot of action going on right now. Obviously, take a look at the schedules right now, right? For mostly everybody, pretty much we're wrapping up week 13 tonight here, Wednesday. Happy April Fool's Day, by the way. It's April 1st. So week 13 for most divisions is either wrapping up tonight or has already wrapped up. In some cases, some games going on this weekend, but either way, like I said, the excitement right now is at an all-time high in FPF because, again, this crunch time playoffs are just around the corner. So let's hop into it. Division 6B right now. I know we were talking before we press record here, Quaysie. A lot of blowouts in 6B this past week. There was a total of there were 6 games in total. One's being played tonight. That's going to be the Fantasy Stars against the Skrillas. That's taking place in Brassard tonight at 10. But we had Vicious and Delicious taking on Hope Patrol, 31-20, Vicious and Delicious. Maule Ball beat the Mighty Schmucks, 32-7. The Goblins got a 34-6 victory over Goodfellas. I know we talked a little bit about that game last week. Goodfellas were hoping to get their first W of the season. Didn't work out too well for them. Ballers, 18-0 over AAA. And the Pookie Bears knocking off the Studio J Jokers 32-20. So like I said, mostly a lot of blowouts this past week in 6B.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, a lot of blowouts. Also, kind of just looking at the playoff standings, we did talk about it a bit, right? 3 teams are not making it. There's 15 in total. So right now, I think there's about 2 teams on the wire right now. You have Fantasy Stars that are 2-6, but they do have 2 games left, as we talked about this last week, I believe. AAA, unfortunately, the fact that they did lose, but they lost 18-0, so they didn't let that many points scored on them. Because for the people that don't know, if there's a 3-way tie, it goes points against. So it's not the plus minus, it's points against. So you kind of want to make sure when you're in a situation like that, you don't want whoever you're playing, you do not want them to score as many points. So at least they should have that advantage against Fantasy Stars if for some reason there's a 3-way tie going into the next couple of days. Again, Fantasy Star they do have 2 games left, right? They play Skrillas and they play Nardog, so it's not going to be an easy path for them. Skrillas are 7-1-1, pretty much one of the best teams in Division 6B, and then Nardogs are 3-6. So if they could actually beat Nardogs then by more than 6 points, they probably could bump them out as well for the points again. So it's going to be very interesting to kind of see what's going to happen for their week 10, which just played April 15th, so it's going to be the last game of the season.
All right, so I mean, going forward, right? I mean, again, like I said last week, right? We talked about the Goblins and the Goodfellas. So that was gonna be a big game. Could the Goblins get their second W of the season, or could the Goodfellas get off the schneid and move to 1-8? Obviously, the former happened. The Goblins getting a big victory over the Goodfellas again by a score of 34-6. So again, one of those blowouts, right? So now what this does for the Goblins, right? Like you said, right? It's still kind of, well, at least it's points wise, right? Now with the point, they're tied with 4 points with AAA and the Fantasy Stars.
Yeah, but if Fantasy Stars lose next 2, to be honest, if Fantasy Stars are losing next 2, but no, because AAA would have to get blown out by like 100. Like 90 if they
well,
want to make up, because AAA, if Fantasy Stars lose both their games, they're definitely gonna have at least over, I think it's 30. They need less than 29 points, so I'm sure they'll probably lose the 2 games they'll play. Teams will score more than 29, but AAA this year also has only allowed 187. So unless they lose by like 20 or 80, 70, I think it's 70-ish. 70, I think it's. They have to lose by less than 68 points. They're in the clear. So, like Goodfellas, their season playoffs not possible. And the Goblins also, even with the win that they had last week versus the Goodfellas, unfortunately, if I mean I've seen some
No,
crazy.
the playoffs are done. The playoffs. I'm not talking about the playoffs for the Goblins.
Oh,
Like
okay,
they're 2-8. I'm just talking about the fact that they at least got the second win of the season because that's what we were talking
okay,
about last week, right? And the fact that at least points wise, for now, they're tied with AAA and the Fantasy Stars. I mean, mathematically, like you said, they could still kind of make it, but I mean, it's like a hope and a prayer right now in terms
yeah,
of all the point differential, right?
yeah, that would be insane.
Yeah.
When that
I mean,
happened.
you never know. You never know when
I,
there's
I know that's what I'm saying.
seen
You do
crazier
never know.
things.
It would be
That would be, I
crazy.
think, the craziest thing ever in FPF history
Yeah,
if that were to happen, and the Goblins
or
found a way to get into the playoffs.
yeah, that would be. Yeah, I think they would even be confused too. They'd be like, "What?
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
in." But
Well,
looking
they
forward,
ended the season on a high note, so at least there's that.
yeah, I know exactly, and they got to win. Yeah, exactly. It's unfortunate they
Yeah,
only have 2 wins. If they got an extra win in their season, kind of just looking at their kind of schedule versus the Mighty Smucks, they lost 12-6. The Studio J Jokers, they lost 18-19. So again, one score, then 1 point. And that's
yeah,
pretty much it. But if again, one extra play, one less interception, one less this, they probably would have been one step closer to actually being in the playoffs, right? So sometimes it's that one play, that one game where you don't realize it because it's so early in the season that kind of gets you to not be in the playoffs. Um, Kind of looking at the schedule, right? So as we were kind of talking about it, so basically, there's no games next week for any of these teams, and then everyone plays week 15. So it's like everyone gets a. So it's week 13. We have our Fantasy Stars versus Skrilla's, and then week 15, it's basically a week 14 is a bye because there's no games played,
yeah.
and then week
And you
15,
play week
we
15
have
exactly.
we have
So
three games on the Wednesday and the one game on the Monday. So
yeah,
that's also going to basically we're going to have to wait basically 2 weeks to see who's officially in, and like for the standings and the seedings and stuff to kind of in line.
yeah, yeah, that's it. But again, like you said earlier, right? I mean, the Skrilla's Fantasy Stars game tonight and Brassard is going to be big, right? Because you look at the Skrillas, right? They're in fourth place, 15 points. If they can get the W, they'll leapfrog vicious and delicious part of me who sit with 16 points, right? 8-2 record. Their regular season is done, and they would actually leapfrog the Stables, right? Stables are 8-1. They have one game remaining. So Skrills, if they can get that win over Fantasy Stars tonight, they could very well finish in second place in this division, right? So that's nothing to sneeze at. And even the same thing, like you said, right, for the Fantasy Stars, they get that win. They're tied points wise with AAA. They can even get a tie, Fantasy Stars. The playoffs
Yeah,
started. Well, they have two games remaining. They can get a tie tonight or even a win. At least as far as tonight's concerned, they're in the playoffs until further notice.
yeah, for sure. A win would be huge for them, and also for some weird reason, maybe at the end of the day they don't want them to score that many points, so they're gonna have to look at points again. But I think that's kind of weird about Fantasy Stars that they've only scored 89 points this season. So they've scored 89 and they allowed 226, and they're kind of like
Yeah.
one step closer for the playoffs. And then you have AAA as well. They're 2-7. They've scored 101 and they allowed 187. So like AAA is averaging 12 points per game, which is kind of crazy to kind of like if you think
Yep.
about it. And you're gonna have a team goal. Like let's just say if the season ended today, like AAA would be in the playoffs, right? And you would have a team that's in the playoffs that's averaging 12 points per game. So
Yeah.
looking at the breakdown as well too, we have 1-4 that get buys. So I mean, at the end of the day, I guess maybe you could win games maybe 12 to like maybe 13-12 like that. So I mean, there's still hope for them, but it's just kind of interesting to see that they've only scored 101 points in 9 games.
For sure. For sure.
Let's go to
All right, man. Let's hop over to
6B.
Division 6A. We got a really big matchup coming up actually tonight. So again, we're filming this on Wednesday, April 1st. Big matchup. Talked about Bassard. This game also in Bassard. It's going to be the 11th seed sophomore Excel exchange students who come into the game at 3-5-1. They're hosting the number 12 seed, the 2-6 Sweet Bonanza, right? So that game going on tonight in Bassard. Obviously, right, you look at the playoff standings, right? Top 12 teams get into the dance. You have 11 and 12 going at it. Point differential, though, is huge right now. So Sophomore Excel has 7 points. The Sweet Bonanza is 3, right? So for Sweet Bonanza, if they get the W over Sophomore Excel exchange students, it doesn't change anything for Sophomore Excel exchange students. They can't be caught by Sweet Bonanza, at least not tonight, if they get the W. But what that will do, though, for Sweet Bonanza, if they get the W, they're tied right now with Chapeau Perdue points-wise, right, with 4 points each. Chapeau Perdue, well, this season actually is over with 4 points, right? So, I mean, if they're pretty much going to be separated from Sweet Bonanza, but again, points wise, again, you want to try to climb the standings a little bit for Sweet Bonanza because Sweet Bonanza has 2 games remaining, right?
Yeah.
Sophomore Excel exchange students have 1 game remaining. So if you're Sweet Bonanza, you can get the W tonight over Sophomore Excel. You're one
You're
point behind him, right? If
automatically.
Sophomore Excel loses their final game, well, actually, it's against them. It's basically Sweet Bonanza can win 2 in a row. They'll leapfrog Sophomore Excel for 11th in the standings. But again, that starts tonight with those 2 teams going head to head.
Yeah. Also, one thing to kind of worry about Sweet Bonanza, even if they lose, they basically Sweet Bonanza, they're again, it's gonna it's gonna be head to head, unless gamblers win one of their games. I don't think Sweet Bonanza played Chapeau. Yeah, I know they
I think
did.
right
So they
now,
have the
yes.
tie. They have the tie break versus Chapeau Pedzou. So what Chapeau Pedzou is kind of hoping for, they need the gamblers to help them out here. They need the gamblers to beat the best worst Zagus, which is the last team in the league. If the gamblers could win that game, they go 2-8, right? They would stay with Chapeau Pedzou, but their points against will be a bit too high. If Sweet Bonanza loses their next 2 games, they finish 2-8. They do have the tie break versus Chapeau Pedzou, but because it's going to be a 3-way tie, it's going to be points against. So then Sweet Bonanza basically only has 22 points, like leeway that they could give up. And if for some reason, I'm sure in 2 games they're going to allow more than that. If they finish 2-8, Chapeau Pedzou is going to bump them out of the playoffs, and then their season's going to be over.
Yeah, but I mean, well, again, like Chapeau Purdue, right? They played their 10 games already this season, so chances of them being able to still squeeze into the playoffs, yeah, they're pretty slim, at least right now, right?
No,
Because again, Chapeau Purdue is
no,
team that the regular season's done.
they just need Sweet Bonanza to lose in their next 2 games. If Sweet Bonanza lose their next 2 games, they're out of the playoffs. Chapeau Pedzou, and Gamblers has to win their game. So if Gamblers,
Gamblers wins, yeah.
if Gamblers beat best worst Zagas that are 0-9, so I mean, that should be a good game. I would want to say
It should be a good game, yeah.
2 bottom teams. So I mean, it's possible to happen. Like I won't be surprised if Gamblers win that game. And then if Sweet Bonanza just lose the next 2 games, Chapeau Pedzou bumps them out, and then Sweet Bonanza seasons they get knocked out.
Yeah, sure, yeah, because
The 3-way
I don't
tie.
know about that because okay, so let's say look, you're talking about right, Sweet Bonanza. Let's say they go from 2-6 to 2-8. Yeah, they beat Chapeau Perdue last week, right? They have the head-to-head tiebreaker.
Yeah, but if Gamblers win, it's a 3-way tie. Everyone's 2-8.
Okay, right. Okay, yeah.
Points against. Which, you know what? Maybe that's something that we should change. Because how it works for the tiebreakers, right? On the screen, it's first number wins, head to head if capable, points allowed, and then points difference. So I want head to head is just one team versus another team, right? So it's head to head. So if it's a 3-way tiebreaker, it just points against, because unless I don't think they do head to head. If let's say they should make it where if my team beat the 2 teams we tied against, we should be able to leapfrog them both.
Yeah, I fully see. I remember talking to Rob about that years ago. I fully agree with that. That just makes more sense to me. I mean, listen, if you're tied with 3 teams, you're tied with 3 teams. If you beat one of those teams, you should be able to leapfrog at least one of those teams, right?
Like I understand if you only beat one of them and then the other one, and then it becomes a situation where, okay, well, we beat you, then there's another team tied. Okay, fine. But if you beat both the teams you're tied with, there's no reason why you should be punished and not make else like that. You beat the 2 teams, it clearly means you're better than them. Or maybe not better than them, but you beat them.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. So that's also something to kind of look at. because it's unfortunate. I do believe Sweet Bonanza is probably the better team out of Chapeau Pezu and Gamblers. Gamblers have no chance of making it, but I'm sure Sweet Bonanza is better than Chapeau Pezu. That's the reason why they beat them 25-13 in the season. And stats wise, I mean, they have more points forward. Defense is a different story. Sometimes you play versus a team that's kind of better, and maybe you allow 50 or 40. So it becomes that situation. But it's going to be unfortunate for Sweet Bonanza because, again, Sophomore Excel is not a bad team. And then they have to play Boost Crews, that are 7-1. That's pretty much leading the division. So it's like very possible for them to drop the next 2 games and then get bumped out. So pretty much like Sweet Bonanza versus Sophomore, even though we were talking about Sweet Bonanza, if they win this game, they could jump over Sophomore Excel and get a better position. It's not even like about jumping them. It's more to the fact where if they don't win this game, they're going to have a very tough game versus Boost Crews, to a point where you want to beat Sophomore now so you guys are safe. You don't even want to get into a situation where, okay, we lost this game, now we have to play one of the powerhouse teams.
Yeah, exactly.
So
I was going to say, so we actually have one more matchup taking place. That's going to be tonight, actually. Looking at it right here. Nope. Maybe we should better change the schedule here.
Boost Crews versus Only Flags.
Yeah, Boost Crews. So on the original screen, it says that the game is tonight, and then I went to the Boost Crews page, and it's saying the game's tomorrow. Either or, that's going to be a huge matchup. Oops, sorry, microphone fell down there. That's going to be a huge matchup, right? Taking place whether it's tonight or whether it's tomorrow. Because you look at the standings, right? You talked about, right? Boost Crews, one of the top teams in this division, right? 7-1 record. They're still trying to shoot their shot to finish first, right? Maule right now is sitting in top of the division with 8-1 record, but Maule has 1 game left, whereas Boost Crews, has 2. So then Boost Crews still in contention to finish with the top record. And then you have Only Flags, right? Only Flags 5-2 right now. They have 3 games remaining. So right now they sit in 7th. If Only Flags, if they win that game, for sure they're gonna hop up in the standings, or if they win out, for sure they're really gonna climb the standings. Right? So a big opportunity for both teams here to climb the rankings, or climb the standings, I should say.
Yeah. It's also it's kind of funny how Boost Crews and OE Pamal, they didn't play against each other this season. I know there's 15 teams, so you only can play 10.
Yeah.
They're 2 of the top teams, and they don't play against each other. I don't think they even played Vice City. That's sitting at number. Oh no, they did play Vice City. Vice City beat them. That would have been weird to see the top 3 teams that haven't played each other. But it's still kind of, as again, it's something. It's funny how the schedule works, where you don't play the other top team against you, and then you only face again, and most likely in the finals, if one finishes first, one versus second. So sometimes it's kind of interesting to see, and sometimes it's unfortunate where you don't even get to play them because one you guys drop the ball and end up losing the semis or the quarters, and it's like it would have been nice to see the actual physical number 2 team. Going into the next week, I guess, right? We're looking at week 14, right? So we have Bonanza. That's going to be a very good game. Talking about. We have Vengeance that's playing Owe Mal. So again, we kind of talked about them. Owe Mal is trying to go into that 9-1. Ending their easy 9-1, be able to get one step closer to kind of securing that number 1 seed. And then we have Only Flags again is playing Vice City, where if Only Flags beat Boost Crews and they beat Vice City, they could jump up into that into that 3rd seed, and they can knock out Vice City because they're gonna be 7-3. Probably be a tiebreak situation, so maybe they could get that. And their defense right now is probably one of the best defenses, only allowing 134. I understand they do have 3 games left. Looking at their schedule, they play Boost Crews, or we kind of say Vice City, and I believe they have PPR Merchants that they did not play. So I'm curious to see exactly what's happening in that game, because again, if maybe there's a forfeit, maybe one team has to reschedule. So it's also going to be interesting to know, because if for some reason, let's just say PPR Merchant couldn't be in there and they get that one there, they go 6-2. They beat Vice City and they beat Boost Crews. Sorry, they beat Vice City and they beat Boost Crews. They literally could probably jump as up as close up to the third seed and have a way better playoff um, schedule. Because yeah, well, or actually, they could jump up, get a number one seed bye, and then they don't have to play versus one of those top teams earlier on in the quarterfinals. So that could be pretty good for them.
So we'll see, wait and see what happens. Obviously, again, two big games over the next 24 to 48 hours here in this division. So best of luck to all four teams. Let's hop over to 5C. So 5C, looking at it right now, man. Uh, again, wide open, right? We're looking at the schedule for this coming week. Well, mini schedule, I should say. Pardon me. At this point, so a number of games taking place tonight and tomorrow. Flag Dealers, Quebec, Panthers, Deep Balls. Those two games taking place tonight. And then tomorrow we have TDs and Big D's against Opats, Bonnie Blues Clues against Studs, and we wrap up week 13 with Takeoff Squad taking on Opats. So two games for Opats over the next, well, pretty much all tomorrow, I should say, pardon me. My apologies. So 24 hours from now, two big games back to back for Old Pats. And for these guys, looking at it right now, right, they're sitting in 11th place, the Old Pats, with a 4-2-1 record, right? And it actually, after tomorrow, they still have one game remaining, right? So again, obviously, top 14 teams make it here. Right now, they sit in 11th, right? So they have a chance. They have 10 points right now. They're tied for points with Lake Touchables and Cavaliers of Rohan. If you're the Opa, sorry, pardon me, they have 9 points. Pardon me. So they're actually tied. Sorry, they're 1 point behind those teams and Bastion as well. Pardon me. Opas are tied with Legion and Goon with 9 points. My apologies. But if you're all that to say, if you're Opats, if you could win out or even win 2 out of 3, you have a chance to go from 11th, hypothetically, all the way up to maybe even like fourth, fifth, or sixth place in this division. So this next tomorrow night for Opats is going to be huge.
Yeah. Imagine if you think about it. Imagine they lose the next two games, right? They'll go 4-4-1, and then you have TDs and Big D's that are 3-5, and they have what could have been that are 3-5, right? So they both these teams are out looking in, and you have LA Jack Boys, Dixie Rec, Legion of Goon, also just kind of right above with 8 points. Legion has 9, but like it's to the point where Old Pass have two games this week, coming into week 13. If they drop those two, and for some, let's say Legion gets a win, Dixie gets a win, Alfie Jackboys gets a win, TDs and Big gets a win, what could have been gonna been like you become in a really good situation to a really bad situation. So again, I'm not maybe Ella Jack Boys play TDs and Big D's. Again, it's a lot of football. But no, they don't. Well, TDs and Big D's actually play Old Path, so that's also going to be a huge game for TDs and Big D's. They're going to be one step closer if they get that win. Plus, they'll help them for a little tiebreak if anything, if they get a tie, because Old Paths do have a tie. So there's just so much things that could like literally happen. If we're looking at what could have been, they played Pedzubek and Booty Blue Clues. So those are two games where I mean, Pedzubek is probably one of the best teams right now at 6-2, but then you have Bloody Clues that are 1-5-1. So again, maybe they could sneak a game for Pedzubek and then get an easier game versus Bloody Clues. They could jump up as 5-5, and they can make it so much interesting to try to jump Opats. But to the point, if Opats could at least win one of those games, they're pretty much safe because TDs and Big D's and what could have been can't jump them after that because then they have that tie. So even if they finish um, 5-4-1, they'll have 11 points. They'll have the 11 points and the max points at TDs and Big D's, and what could have been is 10. So,
Yeah.
Basically, what I'm trying to say, Pats have to win a game. They win a game, and then they can start jumping up on teams. If they drop two of their games. That's going to be happening. One versus TDs and Big D's. That's going to be placing tomorrow, and they kind of actually they play back to back. So they play.
As I'm saying, yeah, they play back to back on Thursday, exactly.
So they play big TDs and Big D's, and they play takeoff squad. So that's going to be tomorrow for them. Is as you were saying, it's going to be a big day for them. Hopefully they're not tired. I think they're usually like 8-9 guys. So hopefully they're able to play their back to back. But again, because like you're playing takeoff squad that's 6-2, that I'm pretty sure they want to start jumping in those seedings as well too.
Yeah.
Try to finish their season
Yeah.
strong, and then you're playing versus TDs and Big D's is pretty much their seasons on the line. So they're definitely gonna want to. I'm sure they realize that okay, guys, if we lose here, we're one step further for playoffs. If we could win this game, we're one step closer to playoffs.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like so, again, like you said, like Opass again. One thing though, with Opass, even if they only win one out of those three games, pardon me, they'll at least leapfrog because Bastion right now they're set 5-5. They're 1 point up on Old Patch, right, as well as Legion of Goon, right. So if you're the Old Pass, even if you go 1-2 in your last three games, you'll leapfrog at least Bastion for 10. So I mean that's not nothing.
Yeah,
And actually, no, part they believe, yeah, they leapfrog Bastion because again, Bastion has played their games, and then you'd have to hope for Cavaliers or Rohan who have one game remaining to lose their game because then you could leapfrog them as well. So, big opportunity, like I said, for the Pats tomorrow is huge for these guys. And you mentioned right, you talked about first place right with Takeoff Squad. Takeoff Squad they lost a head to head against Vice City, so they can't catch Vice City at least point if they finish tied with 16 points apiece. But again, Takeoff Squad with 2 games remaining, they still have a chance to maybe do a little something because it would be kind of let's say Takeoff Squad wins out. They have 2 games remaining, right? And
yeah,
these other teams lose it in front of them. There are a bunch of teams with 16 points and tiebreakers
hybrid.
and all that. We'll have to see what happens, right? So these Takeoff
Yeah.
Squad right now they're in fourth. They could potentially maybe climb a little higher. We'll have to see what happens again because they're 4 points behind Vice City Studs and Panthers.
Yeah, and they also remember Pedzubek is right under them. Rural Flush is right under them. So they're you also have Flag Deers at 5-3-1, so they have that little tie there too. All those teams are looking to try to catch them as well too, right? So it's like
Exactly.
even though
Exactly.
if they win their 2 games and for some reason they still stay in fourth, I think they'll be pretty happy still in fourth because they'll still get that first round bye, so they won't have to play it. They won't have to play wildcat round. You don't have to play that, but they will play the worst team. They'll play the fourth worst team going into playoffs. So they'll play the no, sorry. So there's a wild card round and there's division round. So they'll actually scoop. They'll
Exactly.
actually skip 2 playoff rounds. So wild card they
But
won't be in it, and then divisional round they won't be in, it, and then they'll start back their playoff run in the quarterfinals. So the fourth
are you
seed
sure
is
about that?
still pretty. Sorry.
Are you sure about that? Because I mean, you skip the wild card when you get a bye. You don't skip the division around when you
Yeah,
get a bye.
because a wild card round is only the 11th. It's the 11, 12, 13, and 14 seed,
Okay, I see. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right.
and
You're right. I
then
see it. That makes no
the
sense. But okay, all
divisional
right, fair
round.
enough.
Yeah, so you skip. It's pretty. To be honest,
You
with you if
you
you're the
skip two
11th,
rounds.
yeah. Imagine you're like the 11th seed or the 12th seed or 13th. You have a lot of flag. Like if you're a team like like we're kind of saying March Madness is still going on. If you're that one of those
Mhm,
teams that are kind of that are the
mhm.
12th seed and you want to say well, I mean the 12 versus 13 is possible, 11 for 14, but if you win that game and then all of a sudden you go to division round and you make a huge upset and then you go to the quarterfinals, you're probably playing one of the best teams at this point. So then that's when you're
Yeah, yeah,
sitting
of
relatively
course, of course,
hard.
of
One,
course.
two, three, four. You have 5 games to play. If you're the wild card spot, you have to play 5 more games, which is pretty cool. If you get to the finals, which
That's
is
that, yeah, yeah, yeah.
pretty cool because
That
that's
that that
five
that, that
extra games.
that's
That's literally half a
yeah.
season. Season.
What I said, hey, listen, you're getting bang for your buck right there. I'll tell you that, man. You're definitely getting bang for your buck for the registration fee, right? I mean, we register. I always have this view, right? When you register, when you put in a team, or even as an individual, you join someone's team, whatever, you're paying for the regular season. The playoffs are like an added bonus. A buddy of mine told me
Mhm.
that years ago, and I was like, I completely agree. So with this, right? I mean, the wild card essentially is kind of like the play-in, right? It's like the
Yeah,
NBA
exactly.
play-in tournament, essentially.
Mhm.
All right, cool, man.
But I think
All
that's
right, so
yeah,
sorry.
that's pretty much it for.
All right, just hop over to 5B. So we have a guest coming on. We're just waiting for him to join the feed here. So as soon as he comes on, we'll break away from our what's up. Okay, cool. All right. Okay, so let's bang off 5B quick.
No, no,
So
it's
looking at
that's
five.
because it's 4, right?
Sorry, it's like an echo.
It's 4.
Yeah, he's okay. We can go. Yeah, we can go to 4B. Okay, so yeah, let's hop up. Let's go to Division 4B. That actually makes sense considering the guests we're gonna have on. Sure.
So we'll jump to 4B.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, so so who we're having on right now? So we've had a lot of people on this podcast in like the year and a half, almost 2 years now. Quaysie and I have been doing this. We've had on some veterans, we had on some Hall of Famers, we've had on some people that work for the league, we've had on ladies, we've had on guys. We try to get a mix for everybody, right, from division to division. We haven't had that many rookies. I know we had Ashley Langin last year. I think believe it was last summer. So that was one of the first rookies we've had on. We have another rookie coming on the show to join us. It is none other than Shamar Parkinson from Grab Belief Division 4B team. The great dude. He's a running back right now, starting running back from at Mount Allison University. So a member of the Mounties. So yeah, Shamar Parkinson coming on to join us, taking some time out of his schedule to come on and join us right now. So we should have him on hopefully in the next couple of seconds here. Okay, so okay, perfect. All right. So Shamar, welcome to the
Hey
show,
guys, how
man.
you doing?
Good, good. Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
All right, man. So let's chop it up, man. Let's talk some ball. Like I was saying before to introduce you, whatever you're a member of Grab Leaf, right? Division 4B. This is your first season, at least according to the record book. It's your first season playing FPF. How do you like it so far?
I mean, it's something different, you know. Like I've done flag in the past. I played a different league. I think it's called MFL, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I played it like before I went to university, and like coming from there to FPF, I think it's like more competitive in a FPF than in a MFL, in my opinion. I really like the competition in there.
Okay, yeah, those MFL guys, whatever, yeah, whatever. Nah, yeah, FPF obviously, yeah, it's the place to be for flag football, especially here in Montreal. What have been your first? So you talked about competitiveness, right? You're a competitive guy. I had a chance to call your games at Champlain when you were playing with the Cavs, and obviously now
Mhm.
you use that as a springboard to go to Mount Allison. Now a fantastic running back. What is so? I try to ask this to every single player because Quaysie and I have talked about this before as former tackle guys who ended up playing flag now. What is that the transition been like for you now going from tackle? I mean, you're still playing tackle. You're in the off season right now,
Yeah.
but going from tackle to playing the flag game.
Man, just not being as aggressive in flag as in regular football. You know, like I'm a running back, so I'm used to getting tackled. I'm used to getting hit every play. I get hit every play. You know, and like right now I'm playing FPF. I'm playing rusher, so like I can't really like grab someone like throw them on the ground like I would do in regular football. I have to like grab the flag. So it's more about me like keeping my composure and like not being as aggressive as I usually am in regular football.
Okay, okay. You're on a team, right? So a lot of guys, some of the guys you played with at Champlain, and some guys that currently do play at Champlain, guys like Darius Reed, Camden Jeremiah, Chris Henley, obviously Trey Bentley, Jaden Edgehill. Shout out to Jaden. So a lot of guys you've played tackle with before. And what was the idea when you put the team together? Was it just a way for you guys to stay in shape or have some fun, or what was the idea when you guys made Grab Belief?
I think it's like a little bit of both, like just stay in shape because you know, like some of us are still like playing football, like me, Camden, Darius, like we're still playing football, so we want to stay in shape while like during the off season. And like I think like putting this team together like would like build a chemistry like not only in flag football but like outside of flag football, like just be like increasing our bond as friends. So I think like us creating this flag football team is just like you know like for us to like have a good time and like you know be competitive like on the field again because like most of us don't play with each other no more like as we used to back in Champlain. So like be as competitive as we used to be, and yeah.
Nice. Crazy.
Um, sorry. Okay. So you're as you sorry as you look at it right now, right? So what do you remember? What division you played in MFL?
I played the Division 2, I believe.
Division two. Okay. So one thing that a lot of people. So we do get people from MFL and we get people from FMF. and the divisions are a bit different compared to MFL and FPF. So would you say what would you put Division 2 in MFL to FPF if you kind of had to like put it somewhere?
I would say like Division 2 and MFL is like Division 4 and FPF, because I found like Division 2 easier in MFL than FPF in my opinion. Like Division 4 and FPF, I find it a little bit more difficult because like the competition we have compared to like Division 2 and MFL.
Okay. Have you seen like Division 1 and Division 2 and Division 3 and FPF yet? Like, have you like maybe saw some
I think I've seen Division 1 before, if I'm not mistaken. I played in a game of Division 3 before in like 2019.
Okay.
So I actually played in the game.
Okay. So
and like the competition there was like pretty crazy too. I can't believe.
Yeah. So I played MFL like a long time ago, and I just know like it's a big gap compared to a lot of people. I know some people come in MFL and they play Division 2 and they're like, oh, let me go sign up for Division 2 and FPF, and then they have a horrible season. They go like 0-10, and it's a completely different game. Mm-hmm. So I'm just kind of curious to see how what was your reaction or kind of how you felt.
Yeah, like for me personally, like I came off like I played like MFL like probably like 3-4 years ago, but I was probably like one of the best rushers in the league at the time. You know, like I had like 11 sacks that season, and like coming from that to like not getting as much sacks as I used to is like really like eye opening to me. Like to see like the different type of like competitiveness compared to like MFL to like Division 4 FPF. You know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
When you say you play rusher, obviously in FPF, what was the decision for you to play that position?
Honestly, I just want the cardio.
Okay.
I just want the cardio, and nobody else wanted to play rusher, so I'm like, oh, I don't mind playing rusher. I mean, I played rusher in the past, and like I was pretty good at it, so I'm like, you know what, let me just try it again, you know.
I respect that. Is to be honest, the hardest thing to do is to do fun cardio. I'm not saying rushing is fun to do, but like kind of running after someone every single play, trying to get sacks, getting moving from your boys, like, yeah, that's a fucking good, like that's a good sack, or just like the competitive of rushing someone that's also a quarterback that's pretty good, you know, compared to like running 100 sprints down the field, going back forth. Because like I'm a guy that, again, I played running back as well back in Vanier and Concordia, and I don't like conditioning at all. Like I do not like doing it. Like I don't find it fun, and like I'm like running is not fun. Like sprinting is whatever, but like running 100 sprints back forth, doing 200 meters, like it's not fun. So I also rush too, and the cardio is pretty damn good because you're rushing every single play. You know, you're on, run. You're rushing like maybe 10 yards, 12 yards, going left and right. So it's a good workout. So
yeah, I agree. I mean, like as for me, like I don't like running. I'm a pretty fast runner, but I don't like running. But like the cardio when you rush in flag football, like I would rather do that than like suicides or like sprints down the field.
Because it doesn't seem like it's the same.
Exactly. Because like I feel like you're running for like you're not running that far, you know, to like get a quarterback. Like you're just rushing, probably like you're running like 10 yards and then you're going back to your play and waiting for the next play to happen, you know?
Yeah. No, it's exactly what you said. It's like doing suicides without kind of knowing you're doing suicides.
Yeah.
All right, man. Looking at your stats right now from FPF, right? With your team again, grab a leaf, right? So looking at it right here. So you have a couple touchdowns already this season. So you're putting in that work on offense, right? Again, you guys right now have a 3-5 record. You guys are sitting in 12, kind of that last playoff spot right now in Division 4B. You guys are coming off of a big win in your last game against the Brewers. So the Brewers right now are right on your tails. You guys beat them. So right now you guys have that last playoff spot with a 26 victory over them. So you got 2 games left in the regular season, right? You have the Dirty Dogs coming up next Thursday. Pardon me, actually, so no. Schedule is around. So this Saturday you have 1 goal. So this Saturday in Brassard, and then to finish the regular season next Thursday, April 9th in Chattagee, you're taking on the Dirty Dogs. Has there been any talk amongst you and your teammates, like in terms of what's the game plan for that game, or you guys just gonna show up and try to dominate, or what's the mindset for you guys heading into those final two games?
Honestly, like the mindset that we've been talking about ever since the last game, which is try to win out and make the playoffs. Like that's like our one goal. Like as you said earlier, like we're a very young team. Like it's my first year playing FPF, and it's probably like a bunch of like other guys on my teams playing FPF too. So we're just trying to make the playoffs and like see where we can go from there.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at you. So I have your stats right here: 12 catches, 145 yards. You got 3 TDs, so you're tied for second in TDs, for the lead on your team. Uh, I'm looking at your defensive stats right here, my man. Your defensive stats. So you got one sack, you got one pass deflection, you got 5 tackles. So you're putting in that work. And what's one of the biggest things you learned about playing rusher? Because again, you're kind of new, right? You're rookie at least,
Yeah.
playing a full season. What's one of the things you've learned playing rusher so far?
For me personally, it's more like how to attack a quarterback in a sense where like I'm like when I rush, I go like too fast instead of like breaking down to like actually get the flag. So like I find it like more difficult for me to like break down because like of how fast I'm going. As I said, like I'm used to like playing very fast in like regular football, so I'm trying to like transition from that to like flag football. But I feel like yeah, like it's just difficult for me to like break down and get flags sometimes, or like some of the quarterbacks in this division at least are really good and like they're very experienced. So it's kind of hard for me to like get some sacks here and there, but like when I do get a sack, like I know how to like do it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get it. Yeah, the game it's not regular game speed. Flag football and tackle football game speed is completely different. I think that's a lot of people are kind of saying in debate. And also, getting flags is not as easy as it looks. A lot of people when they kind of start playing flag, like, oh, it's easy. I'm just gonna grab the guy's flags, and then you see so many missed tackles, and you're kind of looking at your friend like, yo, why'd you guys miss? You're like, oh, I had it, and it just slipped out of my hands. You see
That's
that so
exactly.
often, especially with football guys. I remember like when me and my buddies kind of started making teams, and we had to look guys that never played flag, started playing flag. We sucked at tackling. Like it was we had the best athletes on the field. We couldn't tackle for our life. Like we had these guys that like whatever, maybe they looked a bit older, but we would call them the vets, whatever. And they literally catch the ball, and everyone would just miss a tackle, and they would score a touchdown. And then we end up losing versus guys that are probably in their mid-30s at the time, and we're like, how are we all playing university ball or our college ball, and we're losing to guys like that.
It's funny that you brought that up because after I forgot which team we played against, but after one of the games, one of the players that I played against, he was probably like in his like 40s or 50s, like mid 40s, early 50s, and he's saying like flag football is not all about athleticism. It's more about like technique and like experience, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, it does you probably did you guys maybe that was Peacemakers. You guys play Peacemakers?
I think it was Peacemakers, yeah.
Yeah, it was Peacemakers. Yeah,
It's a
that
veteran
probably
squad.
sounds like a
Yeah.
Jason Rosie, one of those guys that kind of said that because they're probably one of the old in 4B. They're probably one of the oldest teams with their roster that they have
Yeah, them.
here. Yeah, but all these guys have been playing flag for a while. So
At least a decade. At least a
Yeah.
decade.
yeah, like that roster, you can kind of see it on my screen right now, Brent. That the picture.
Yeah.
This
Jason Rossi,
this
Chris
whole team.
Brockwell,
Yeah,
Kenton. Yeah.
it's
All those guys. 100%. 100%. Jason. Yeah.
yeah.
So let me ask you, switching away from flag for a second. So going back to tackle for a minute, right? So obviously playing for the Mounties. So like I said, you started off at Champlain, right? What
Yeah.
went into into the decision, pardon me, to go all the way to Mount Allison, right? All the way to New Brunswick.
Honestly, I just knew like from like because my old teammate Graham Mather, he played at Champlain with me too.
Yeah,
He
the field
played
kicker,
he played
yep.
yeah, he played punter and kicker. So he hit me up after the season. He's like, "Oh, like, what's your plans after the season?" And my plan was to like like explore my options, see what schools are interested in me, and like what schools are interested in giving me like scholarship money and this and that.
Mhm.
So Graham gave me a call one day. He's like, um, if you come out here, like you're gonna love the experience. You're gonna like play a lot when you're here. Like in my rookie season, I played a lot. I was pretty much a starter at one point. And he said like there's like it's a family culture. It's basically like Champlain 2.0. So I'm like,
Nice.
okay, Graham, let me like explore my options and I'll get back to you. So I explored my options. I was talking to schools in Ontario. I was talking to bishops, but like nobody was giving me like the same love as Mount Allison University was giving me. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to commit to Mount Allison University. They gave me more of a family love instead of like like any other school has given me, and they were giving me like a lot of scholarship money. So I'm like, you know what? Let me go play there. And ever since I got there and played there, like it's nothing but love there. It's just family. Like we're all bonding. Everyone's together, and even like the campus itself, like everybody, like the students, like parents, like even grandparents would come to the games and like just watch all the games. Like the whole town was shut down and watch all of our games. So it's nothing but support and love out there.
That's what they say.
Nice.
That's the difference that they say when you play. Well, let's just say the Q, right? Compared to anywhere else. Well, I mean, it's Laval. University of Laval is different because they have their own party city over there. Everyone likes football, but like you play for Montreal, Concordia, McGill. It's like everywhere. Everyone's down the street. Like McGill's down the street from
Yeah.
Concordia's down the street from Montreal. So it's a bigger community compared to like going out somewhere else Allison or like at SFX, like St. Mary's,
It's
like that.
NFX, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
because
in
like
effects.
all those schools, it's like kind of like because when I was doing my commitment, my do like to see where I want to go as well too. A lot of people were telling me like, yeah, if you go out there, it's kind of like high school, but leveled up, but you still get the love from everyone, like
Exactly.
how you were saying, like everyone knows who you are,
Mm-hmm.
which is like cool, because it's still like it's a good family vibe, compared to going somewhere else where it's like, oh, okay, you play football, like, oh, whatever, like, it is
Yeah,
what it is.
exactly.
Compared to going somewhere else, you're like, yo, like, okay, people know who I am. Like, I don't know, I find that pretty cool when you're going to like games like that. Everything's shutting down. The crowd is huge, and everyone knows who you are. Compared to like going to play for Concordia, let's say my hands, and people don't give a fuck what if you play on the team or not. So
Nah, but like even like when we play away, like people will like probably watch it online. Like they'll be paid to watch us play online, or they'll literally drive like 2-3 hours to come watch us play. So that's like the love and the type of community that we have out there.
I have a sorry, Brent. I don't know if you had a question here.
Go for it, man. Go
You
for it.
guys played Bishops this last year, right?
Yes.
How you have to take a plane over there to there?
Nah, we have to take a bus. They take a plane to us.
Oh, okay, so you guys take a bus. I was gonna say, what's the experience? Give up again. I'll still ask, what's the experience? Because that's pretty far.
Yeah.
Bus ride.
So basically, like game day at Bishops, right? Let's say for example we play them on a Friday night. We'll leave school. We'll leave Sackville, New Brunswick. That's where I live. We'll leave there at like 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning, and then we'll stop halfway to get like food or whatever. Oh, mind you, I forgot to mention we have 2 buses, offense and defense.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll stop halfway, get some food, like everyone's together, we're all bonding, whatever, and then we'll reach to Sherbrooke probably around like 7-8 o'clock at night, get some food there, and go to our hotels. So like the experience from like going from like Mount Allison University to Bishops, like on like the day before the game, it's kind of tiring, but it's a fun experience at the same time because you're with your boys and like you're at a hotel, like you can't go wrong with that. Like, you're having
Yeah,
fun, you know.
I'm
Right.
sure the
But
experience
like the
is.
day of the game, for example, like let's say, like as I said, like let's say we're playing on a Friday night, like the amount of preparation that we do before the game, like we have to go to the field like probably like 6 hours before the game starts. We have to eat, make sure everybody's getting taped up, watching film, you know, make sure everybody's hydrated, and then the game happens, and then we whatever happens during the game happens during the game, and then we will leave right after.
Yeah, it's a long. It's a lot. It's long travel, right? It's basically
Yeah,
it's like a 2 day thing, kind of, right? So you leave on. You
yeah,
say you leave on the Thursday morning, so you arrive on the Thursday night, and then you have to get all your prep, your walkthrough, all that going because you
Yep.
play on
yeah,
the Friday night. And it must be kind of crazy to leave after the game, right? Like, so let's say you guys play at 7, you finish at 10, and then you guys are on a bus by 11, and you guys are
yeah,
making your way back to
yeah,
school.
exactly. And like sometimes it was kind of like frustrating because, you know, like my first year, for example, we had Bishops the last um game of the schedule, and we had them the first round of the playoffs. So we played them on the
Okay. Okay.
Friday
Yeah. Yeah.
night. We played them on the Friday night, um, the week before the playoffs. You know, went home, whatever, and then we had like what 2 days of preparation, and we had to go back to Bishops like the week after to prepare for the playoffs.
Did you guys?
So
Did you
I
guys?
found that one like I found that pretty tiring and pretty exhausting, especially coming off like a game that we just played the week prior.
Yeah,
There,
it's more. I guess it's the travel. To be on a bus for, I think it's like it's basically the whole day. To be on a bus the whole day, it's a
mm.
lot, and then to do it back to back must be kind of crazy. Did you guys for your playoff game against them? Did you guys leave a day earlier, or was it the same routine? You guys left on the.
That one we left 2 days earlier actually.
Yeah, okay. I was about to say. I figured you guys would probably get there a bit earlier, so you
Yeah,
guys could like.
Okay. That's like that's what about like us. It's like a 7.5, 8 hour trip, right, from Lennoxville all the way to New Brunswick.
yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, that's a long time on a bus, 100%.
Yeah, it's really long. But mind you, like Halifax, like a school like SMU or like Saint FX or like Acadia, they're like 2 hours away from us. So that's like 10+ hours on the bus.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
Well, I
right.
mean, at least now you guys don't have to deal with bishops anymore, right? Since they're back to the
So
queue.
yo, I'm so happy for that. I can't even lie.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you about that. Yeah, and then going back to the RSCQ. Okay, okay. With those guys gone, right? So like in the AUS, right? So there's you guys, obviously Saint FX, Saint Mary's, and Acadia. Who's your biggest rival?
We say our biggest rival or biggest competitor.
Rival,
Both,
rival.
both.
Let's go
I
rival.
said rival,
Or we
but I
do
mean
both. Yeah,
you.
I
both,
say
both, both.
I say like our biggest rival and competitor. Like most people would say our rival would be Saint FX, but in my opinion, I think our biggest rival and biggest competitor is St. Mary's University. Because every time we play them, it's always a dogfight. You know, like it'll be a back and forth,
Makes
like
sense.
a lot of smack talk during the game, like gritty football. And I love that. I love that. I love whenever we play at St. Mary's. You know, like go to Halifax on a Friday night or like a Saturday night, and playing like under the lights and like just playing like old fashioned football against St. Mary's in the city of Halifax. So I find that I find like St. Mary's, especially like the players on their team and like where they come from, or whatever, like they just talk a lot of smack and like just play like their brand of football, and we play our brand of football and like get gritty with it too, you know.
Okay, okay. I was looking at your the work you put in this past season. You had 44 carries, 221 yards. You average 5 yards a clip, right? 5 yards a carry. So a career high in
Mm.
yards and career high in yards per rush. Unfortunately, at least for your team, you guys finished 1-7, so last in the standings with the AUS. But there were some positives you could take out of last season. Going forward to this season now, why should teams be scared to play against you and your team?
Um, cause honestly, last season was more of like, cause like let me explain like what actually happened. So in 2023, we went 1-7 as well. You know, no, sorry, 2024 we went 1-7. You know, we had a bad season or whatever, and from that, like we changed our whole coaching staff. Like everything changed. Like head coach, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, everything changed.
Yeah.
So it's not more of like us, it's more of like a new system that we were trying to get to know, getting to know. And mind you, like our team's also very young. We had like probably like 60% of our team were like in their second year. Um, a bunch of people, a bunch of rookies on our team. I was in my third year, so our team's very young. Trying getting to know a new systems, and like it's not easy. It's really not easy at all. Like especially having a young team. Every other team in the AUS was very like veteran. Like everyone was like in their fourth or fifth year, I believe. So I think moving on from last season to this season, and the reason why teams should be scared is because okay, now we know what to expect from every team. Now we know our playbook from like the front to the back. Now everyone knows like how to play with each other, and like the coaches know who to play in what situation, who not to play in what situation. So I trust the coaching staff. Like the coaching staff is very smart. This probably one of the smartest coaching staffs I've had since Champlain. So I think that like next season we're gonna come out very positive and like have a high energy and come out with a positive record than we did the last 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah, makes sense. It's a rebuilding for the past
Yeah,
2 years.
it's a rebuild. Like not many people understand, and people will be texting me saying, "Oh, like why is your guys' record like this, or why did you guys lose to this team or that team, and why you guys get blown out?" I try to explain to people like we're in a rebuild. Like nothing's like it's not gonna you're not gonna win games automatically like with new
Yeah,
coaches and like a young team. You have to like rebuild off of that.
yeah, and they have to realize it's competitive. It's not like it's university football at the end of the day. It doesn't matter if you're playing the Q, you're playing in Ottawa. It doesn't matter what division, whatever you're playing. You still have to go out and play. Like at the end of the day. So when you're changing your whole coaching staff, offense score, defense score, like it's a lot to change. Like people like regular people that kind of don't know football and they kind of just watch it, yeah, it's easier to kind of like, oh, you guys suck, da 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 da. But if you're looking at it a coaching aspect, you kind of understand how coaching rates and a player aspect where like everything doesn't come just all at once, right? It takes time. It takes years. Some teams take 2, 3, 4, 5 years, and you kind of see that, and you see that at all levels. Like you sometimes you kind of wonder where big programs, small programs, they get a new coach, they get a new offense coordinator, and it takes time for them to actually get better. And then 3 years later, they're one of the best teams. You're like, well, what happened like 2, 3 years ago? It takes time, it takes development. Like you guys are a young team, right? You guys get 18-year-olds, 19-year-olds. It's not like you guys are all 21. Because right now, I think you're 23 or 24, 23, let's say ish.
I'm 24.
Yeah, 24, right? So you're
I turned
playing with
24.
you play with 19-year-olds, I believe. I guess out of high school most of the time.
Yeah.
So they're young,
Yeah.
they're not old guys, they're still babies, you would like to say. So that's one thing people have to kind of realize, like it's not easy thing to do. And if it was easy, everyone would be playing university football. But
Exactly. But like one thing I liked about my team is that like no matter what situation, no matter win or lose, we all come together. Like even the coaching staff, we all come together and like just all positivity, no negativity when if we win or lose. So that's one thing I love about this team.
well, it's also you buy in, right? You buy into the system.
Exactly. That's one big word that we use too, actually, in Maule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, buy in for sure.
Yeah, 100%, 100%. So obviously, this is the second year for Scott Brady. Second year of a second tenure. He was the former coach from 2016 to 2017. Now you guys brought him back last year. So you mentioned obviously this for you personally, right? You're going into your fourth season. Obviously, you're one of the leaders of the team, right? Just talk about that. What does that mean to you, and how are you able with the other leaders of your team to kind of set the tone with what Quaysie mentioned, being obviously a young team, some of the younger players on your squad.
I mean, like as I did it back in Champlain, like I was like more of a lead by example type of guy. So like if like let's say like, oh, like one player is doing like one bad thing at practice, or like let's say like a younger running back in my group will like mess up on his footwork or whatever, or like not watching film, like I'll just get on their case about that, like what we're trying to do is like not only win but like get better every day. And that's one big thing that Coach Brady talks about. It's just like he doesn't care about winning, he just cares about getting better day by day. So as a leader, I don't care about like winning. Like obviously everyone wants to win. Like who doesn't want to win? But as long as me and my team is getting better day by day, I can't get mad at that.
Okay, okay, no, I respect that. I respect that.
Um,
Um, was
sorry,
this it? No, go. Yeah, something.
I have a question. So, okay, when you were you played 2 years at Champlain or 3 years at Champlain?
My first year was COVID, so I couldn't play that year, but I played 2 years in Champlain.
2 years at Champlain, and you guys had a positive record.
5-3, yeah, both years.
Okay, well, um, so do you feel like when you went from a team like Champlain and you guys were kind of winning, and going to a team like Mount Allison, you guys were losing? Do you think it kind of changed how you were, like how you kind of took, like how you took losses and wins in a certain way? Because when you go from a team that's a positive record and then going to a team that's a losing record, I know some people. I feel like you could take it two ways, right? One way where like screw this, like bro, how am I going from a team that's 5-3 and we're going to playoffs, going to the semis, compared to going to a team that's 1-7 and not making and getting knocked out the first round. So do you think like that kind of going to Mount Alice kind of changed how you kind of looked at winning and losing?
For me personally, not really. And it's because I played football for like 13, 14 years, and there's years where I went 3-5. There's years where I went 0-10. So I never really let that get to me. It's more of like, if we just get better as a team, then wins will like just naturally happen. And
Okay.
it's like, if we don't get better as a team, wins are definitely not gonna happen. So like, it's nothing that I'm not used to. I've been in this type of situation before. It's just like, how are we gonna react the next season coming off of a season like this?
Yeah. Okay.
Switching back to FPF now, right? So you have your tackle experience, right? And you talked about coming from a team who's struggling to get wins, but you guys are building something. With Grab Belief, right? Again, this is the first year for your team collectively. You guys are trying to build and trying to make the playoff. Right? Like I said, you got 2 games remaining in the regular season. Why should teams be on the lookout for Grab Belief as we head into the playoffs?
I think like as of last game, especially like I think we started to get figure things out, especially on offensive side. Defensively, like we have like a little bit of struggle, but like it's nothing too crazy that we can't fix. So if we just lock in on defense a little bit more than we do on offense, then I think like we'll be like a scary team in next coming games.
Okay, and for you personally, right? I mean, putting team successes aside, personally, how much fun are you having right now playing FPF?
I'm having a lot of fun, like I love the competitiveness in here. Like as I said, like coming from MFL to like D4 FPF, I thought it was gonna be like around like the same like competitiveness, like I thought I was gonna be like, oh, like I'm gonna get like 11 sacks like I did back in MFL, this and that. But that's not the case. Like the competitiveness in FPF compared to MFL, especially D4, man, like it's crazy. Like it's really crazy. But
Okay,
yeah, I'm
and
having a
and
lot of fun playing it.
okay, and in future off seasons, is this where you're gonna make your flag football home in FPF? Is this a league where you want to continue playing?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Like if I end up back in Montreal next winter, I'm definitely gonna play FPF for sure.
Okay. All right. Okay, so I think we'll end it there, man.
I might even play during the. Oh, sorry, what you said?
No, go for it, man. Go for it.
Oh, I was gonna say like I'm most likely gonna play during the summer as well. I'm probably gonna play in the summer leagues.
Okay, what division are you looking at for the summer?
Probably like Division 3 or 4, because as I said, I'm still like new to it, so I have to
That
like
would
play
be
in like
like,
a lower division to like go up, go up in the rankings. You
yeah,
know?
I'd be like division probably C or D. I think that's in the summer. That's we changed from like 4A, 4B to division C, division A. Well, it goes A, B, C, D,
Okay.
D1, D2, E,
Yeah.
and then F. And then, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Right. Yeah. Okay. But either or, we'll see you for sure the spring, this summer, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, we're
Okay.
winning,
Okay.
Brent. We're gonna see them in the finals, bro. What are you talking about?
There you go. There you go. There you go. All right.
Sorry, I have one question
Speak it into
before.
existence.
I have one last question before we let you go. So your team right now, you guys are 3-5. I've seen you guys play maybe once or twice in Shadigi when I was kind of playing after you. I I have a why is so I want to pronounce this right. So I'm looking at your player stats. Your quarterback right now is Reed, right?
Yes,
Darius.
there is.
Yeah, Darius Reed.
Why is Bentley not quarterback if he's initially a quarterback? Reed
We
is
we
initially
we 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 say uh we say Bentley's a better receiver than quarterback.
okay. Because I know you played quarterback for so long at Champlain. Like he's an athlete, don't get me wrong. But again, Reed's like
Nah.
I guess Reed's a DB slash receiver, a solid guy. So when I
Yeah.
first saw you guys playing, I was like, why is Reed quarterback and Bentley out as receiver? But I guess if it works, it works.
Nah, Bentley's a better receiver than quarterback. He could say
Okay.
that. He could say that for himself too.
Okay. All right.
He knows that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. It's something nice to have in your back pocket. You never maybe a trick player or something like that. You have Trey Bentley come and play a little quarterback here. We had Darius Reed. So crazy. I don't know how much you've seen in Darius, but Darius Reed, phenomenal athlete,
No, he's a
receiver,
stud.
running
He's
back,
a, he's a stud. He's a
stud.
stud.
Yeah. Quarterback anywhere you need him. You can play just like Shamar. You put Shamar anywhere on the field, he'll make a play for you. Darius Reed, kind of similar as well.
For sure.
All right, man. So
Like we
listen,
do have some plays like that though, where Bentley.
Comes in as a quarterback.
don't say that. You can't be giving that away, man. You can't be giving that away. You gotta keep that on the DL.
My bad.
All right, hey. No worries, man. No worries. I let the confidence. You'll put it out there. You tell teams what you're doing. It's on them teams to stop you. So I like the confidence. I like the confidence.
Exactly.
All right, man. Shamar Parkinson, man. Just want to say thank you for coming on, man. We appreciate you coming on the podcast and giving us your time. And best of luck the rest of the way. Like I said, 3-5 right now. You guys basically hold your playoff fates in your own hand. You guys take care of business. For sure, you'll punch your ticket in there with 2 games remaining in the regular season.
Yeah. And man, thank you guys for having me, man. It was a pleasure to be on this podcast, man.
All right, the pleasure was ours, man. Thanks for coming on, and best of luck this coming season. Obviously, with Matt Allison, guys looking to climb that standings and make the playoffs and do your thing, man. Best of luck.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll catch up soon, man.
All right. Thanks. So, Division 4, interesting. Division 4B. Division 4B.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Since like we didn't really, let's just kind of get through B really fast. There's only 2 games left. We have no pun intended versus Bandits, and then we have Stud versus Brewers. Brewers and they're basically do or die right now. Last game of the season for them. If they win, they're not out of playoffs yet. They have a good chance. They sit at 2-6-1 with a tie. So if they could win that game, they'll finish their season 3-6-1, and they'll jump Gabberleaf and Dirty Dogs because they have that tie. And then it's going to put pressure on Dirty Dogs and Gabberleaf to get one more win to kind of knock them back down. So we have a huge game for Brewers against tonight they play or tomorrow.
It's tonight against the
Tonight?
Studs.
Yeah, so pretty much their season's on the line tonight versus the Studs. That right now the Studs are 6-3, so they're looking to improve, finish their season 7-3, and jumping Uncle Rico Riders that are 6-3 as well. So still gonna be interesting to see how Peace is gonna perform tonight, right? That's the
Yep.
quarterback for Gabriel Leaf. Gabriel. Oh, sorry,
No,
that's the
for the
quarterback
Brewers.
for
For the
Brewers. Sorry.
Brewers. Yeah, PP is the quarterback for the Brewers.
Yeah, so we're gonna see how he's able to perform to see if he could give his team one last chance to make a playoff push, or they're just gonna call their season over with now if they end up losing versus the Studs. I think even a tie. I think a tie also could help them too, but preferably a win would be better. But a tie is also something that could help them out.
I'm sure. So what Pease is, and I know he listens. He's gonna like this. So will Pease take it? Will he take that win away from his team, or will he give his team a win? Comes down with the will he be giving? If I can say this properly, will he be giving? Wow, I'm tired. It's been a long day. Will Pease be giving interceptions to the other team, or he be giving touchdowns to his own squad? Sorry, I messed it up. In my head, it sounded a lot better, and it's been a long day. So yeah,
No,
depends what happens with Peas. Will be turning the ball over or not for the Brewers. We'll have to wait and see.
all right. Let's jump to 5B. So we went forward, and we're gonna go backwards to kind of to get through the B's. We actually have one more team. Sorry, yeah. So 5B. So still a lot of football to be played. Going into the previous week that just passed, I'm just opening here, scrolling down. So we had a few games that did happen. We had Angry Birds versus Emperor Retreats. We had TD Blitz play Green Monsters. Green Monsters won 26-0. It's always impressive to see a team shutting down a team for literally 48 minutes, right? That's how long the game is with time clock. You basically let a team score 0 points in basically 48 minutes. It's always impressive to see a defense shutting down a team, not letting them score. McGill swim team, a big game for them. They won 35-13. And then we had Le Mange de Bang that won 30-12 to basically close out the games that played on Sunday and Monday. And then later on tonight, we got 3 games. We got PI Central versus Angry Birds, South Shore Crash Outs versus Jamaican Bobsled team, and then Bend Don't Break looking to extend their perfect season. Right now, they're 8-0.
Yep.
They're looking to extend their season to be 9-0, and they're gonna be one game closer to have that perfect record.
Yeah, so it's gonna be big. So Ben Dobre taking on the Perplexers. So 3 big games coming up tonight. You mentioned obviously South Shore Crashers, like you said, right? Losing to Le Manjo the Bench, so they have a chance to kind of turn the tide again. Hopefully, they get back in the win column as they take on Jamaican bobsled team.
Big game
I
for
know.
them.
So week 14 coming up here Saturday, right? So a ton of games actually taking place this Saturday in the division. So looking at it right here, right, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games coming up this Saturday to kick off week 14 in this division, right? Swiffer Wet Jets taking on Rampage, Deep Zone Penetrators, Demons, Puff Up Pass, Traumedy Chose, Catch and Flex against Bend Don't Break, Emperor's Retrote, taking on the Perplexers, and then we have the Green Monster family taking on PSTM. So again, a ton of games coming up this Saturday in this division, right? So again, by the time we come back for next week's podcast, a ton of movement will be taking place up and down the standings here um, in Division 5B.
Yeah, there's still a lot of action. Again, there's when you have 22 teams in a division. I mean, there's always a lot of games, as you're kind of saying. 6 games on Saturday. I think there's 6 more games falling on the Sunday and the Monday, and back to the Wednesday to kind of complete the week 14 for these teams. Um, Kind of just going to the playoffs, kind of looking at it. South Shore Crash Outs are pretty much playoff on the line that they're going to be. As you kind of were kind of saying, they kind of have to. They have a big game coming up that we talked about after losing versus the Maule Blanc. They played tonight. They played Jamaican Bobsled team. So if they could win that game, their chances to make playoffs is a bit closer. The fact that Chamonix chose PSTM Deep Zone Penetrators, and PI Central are all teams. Oh, sorry, not PI Central actually has a tie, so they can't catch up to them. But the three other teams I kind of mentioned, they can still catch up to them. So that's a big game for them. If they win, there's still a chance for them to make playoffs. If they lose, unfortunately, I believe they're gonna be knocked out unless somebody shows allow like 120 points in the next two games, which I don't think they're gonna allow that. So big game for South Shore Crash Outs, and then for the Green Monster family, the other team that you kind of talked about for being the last game. They played PSTM on next Saturday, so this Saturday coming up, which PSTM is 4-4 right now with two games left. So they're gonna play Green Monster and they're gonna end their season with Chamonix Schultz. So it's kind of interesting to see that a lot of those teams are playing versus each other and they're just above, right? So you have PSTM, Chamonix Schultz, Green Monster, and South Shore Crash Outs. Like they're all playing versus each other to some point, which is kind of interesting to see because they're all the bottom teams. So we're gonna see a lot of teams going up, a lot of down, and then Crash Out's playing Jamaican Boston team, but they're still in that picture of those four teams that are kind of fighting for a spot. And then you have Deep Zone Penetrators as well. That's 4-4. So they kind of also want to win one of their next two games, where they play Demons. An interesting fact for the Demons is that they lost their quarterback last week. I think he has
Ben Iglesian.
Yeah, he has something with his knee. I don't exactly. I'm not sure. I checked their Instagram, and he's out for about 4 to 6 weeks. So unfortunately,
Yeah,
he's
it's
not.
tough.
Gonna,
That's
yeah,
tough.
he's not. He has two. They have two games left. Um, he's not going to get the rushing record, so it kind of sucks because he was on pace. But again, they're going to have to try to figure it out. They have one game left versus Deep Zone Penetrators to kind of see their quarterback situation. I think Neil stepped in. I want to
Yeah, Neil,
say,
right? Yeah, Neil might be. I think he's going to be replacing a quarterback.
yeah. So he stepped in. I think he played two games so far. He's 8 touchdowns, 2 INTs, so not too bad. So I mean, I believe that's the quarterback going to be stepping for them until Ben comes back. Again, for what I saw is 4 to 6 weeks, so maybe he makes a championship appearance since it's such a long playoff season. Championship is May 14 and 15, so we have about 6 weeks until we're gonna see who's making the championship or not. But that's a big loss for the Demons, and to be honest, it's kind of a good thing for Deep Zone Penetrators because it means you don't have to play a quarterback that's so fast and stuff like that. So it's an easier game for them to try to get a win. I mean, not saying like not saying good job at the injury, but I'm just kind of saying like,
Yeah.
you know how it is. You know how it is. Sports like injuries suck. There's a lot of players, a lot of injuries that are happening. So, I mean, guys,
Next man up. Next man up, man. Next man up.
That's how it works. So,
there you go.
Yeah. So that's kind of the interesting fact around the playoff situation. Bend No Break again. I kind of said they're fighting for a perfect season. You have Shady Community College as well, looking great. I've mentioned before. I think this is the team. I think this is the team to beat. Very impressive. The fact that they went from 2-8 to now 8-1 with one game left in their season.
Yep.
Hopefully they finish strong and they could finish a 9-1. A big turnaround for them. And then it's also nice to see like a team like We Ain't Done the 90s and Swiffer Wet Jets, like teams like that, because we've seen them play in Division 6. You know, they're constant. Some of these teams haven't done so well, but the fact that they're doing so well now, it's awesome to see.
For sure, 100%. All right, let's hop over to 5A.
Yeah.
So looking at 5A right here. So big win this past week. We had last Sunday, Voodoo knocking off the TD Brothers, 21-19. So big win for Frank K and the boys. Like I said, this past Sunday. So looking at it right here, right? So with that W, right? So looking at it, pardon me. So Voodoo right now 9 seeds right now, right? They're at 12 points. So that win ties some of these points wise with Ice Up, who also had 12 points, and Texas Wales. So again, big win to Frankie and the crew there of Voodoo. Again, getting that W over Thunder Buddies. So Thunder Buddies now, pardon me, sorry, with that win over TD Brothers, my apologies. With that win, so again, 21-19. We had so TD Brothers, they followed that up, right? So they played two games, TD Brothers, right? So they lose to Voodoo, and then they lose pretty much an hour later to Speed Academy Junior, right? By a score of 18-6. So that's two big losses right there for TD Brothers. Pardon me, for TD Brothers, I should say, pardon me. Right there in the standings, right? So two big
Yeah,
losses. So it's gonna be
they those two losses basically lost their
right.
chances.
And as I said, what I said, that's I was gonna say. Yeah, so that ends the season, right? Because you look at the standings, right? Again, the top 14 teams make it, and again for TD Brothers to suffer two back-to-back losses right there, that pretty much puts their season on ice. And they finished off with a 2-8 record right there. So they had a chance to potentially climb
Yeah.
in from the 18th seed to maybe make the playoffs. But again, two big losses, their season is over.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately for them, I mean, I'm happy for it because my team is fighting right now for our life. So more
Right.
teams like that have to kind of lose, and I'm rooting for some teams right now. But yeah, super interesting to see how Division 5A is gonna plan out. So you're kind of talking about those two teams. Going down to also something as well. Sorry, my computer's opening that. So we had you had Code Red losing versus Not Fast and Just Furious, which is a huge win for Not Fast Just Furious. Kind of putting also Code Red out of playoffs as well. They go
Done. They're
to
done.
1-7-1. That tie they had was pretty. It's a good tie, but with a 1-7-1 record doesn't help them. So that pretty much knocks out Code Red out of playoffs as well, and it puts Not Fast Just Furious basically in the playoff spot with 4-5-1. No other teams could kind of catch up to them because they also have that tie break. So you have Kicking Asses, you have Victoria's Secret, and you have Toon Squad all at 3-6 with 6 points. And unfortunately for us, we can't catch a team with 9 points because the max points we can get is 8. So that win for them pretty much secured their playoff spot. So it's a big win for them, and unfortunately a bad lose for Code Red because that kind of just knocks them out of playoff contenders.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? And that loss for Code Red, I mean, it is a bad loss, like you said, right? Because I mean, this is a team, right? I talked to Rob White, so he's captain of the team. I talked to him when I was scorekeeping with him last week, and I called you, right? And he was saying there's still a chance for us to get in, right? Some things have to happen, but he's first and foremost they have to control what they could control, and he goes, it starts with beating, not fast,
Mm-hmm.
just furious. And again, I got to give him the credit, man. Rob Wade, listen, he's had his struggles at quarterback, but he came out and he balled in that game, right? 18 to 20, 188 yards, 5 touchdown passes in that game, right? But again, losing in heartbreaking fashion, pardon me, to Not Fast, Just Furious. And it's just that goes to show right there. I mean, every game matters, right? You got to try your best to get the W. And it's heartbreaking because Code Red came within pretty much a play of winning that game. They gave up the game-winning touchdown, pretty much with like 3 plays or 4 plays left in that game, right? And then giving up the 2-point conversion. So it's kind of like ripping victory
Yeah.
pardon me, ripping defeat from what should have been a victory right there for Cole Red. So it's a heartbreaking loss for again the team. They struggled, but when push came to shove, with their season on the line, they had arguably their best game of the year. Just they couldn't find a way to close it.
Yeah. Again, fortunately for them, for me, I'm happy. No, no
Yeah.
disrespect, Rob. I need teams losing and I need teams winning. So, I'm to be
Yeah, for
honest with you,
sure.
I would have took in a No Fast, No Furious. I would have took in a Code Red win because then we play Code Red, so we would have to beat them, and then No Fast and Furious would be closer for us to kind of jump. So I was fine with either way. But then I now don't have to worry about. Well, we have to beat Code Red anyways, but anyways, besides the fact. Going into the schedule for the next, I think there's 3 games happening tonight. Going back
Yeah,
to
yeah.
it.
There's it's called Jean Vanier alumni, I guess, New Kids, right?
Yeah.
You got and the New Kids taking on Super Box. So for New Kids, back-to-back games, right? Coming up tonight, both obviously Sadie Bear. You got Deep Balls and Thunder Buddies tonight as well, and then you have Spartans against Super Bach, right? So like four big games coming up here tonight. In this division, right, and obviously the playoff standings or playoff potentially teams getting in or not getting in. Huge matchups on the line here tonight.
Yeah, especially for New Kids, they're playing their back to back, so they basically need to win both of them. They win both of them. Um, there's a high chance that they're going to make playoffs. Um, Same thing with Sewer Brock. If they could win tonight, if they could win tonight or their next game, they're pretty much in playoffs as well. So they have two games. They have two big games coming up versus New Kids and then Spartans. Where if technically, if New Kids lose one of their games, they're pretty much out of playoffs, and then same Spartans are out of playoffs, so they're just kind of playing for fun right now. And then you have a team like Unsportsman Conduct, kind of just going back. They play Speed Academy Junior on this Saturday, so pretty much they win and they're one chance closer into playoffs. So a lot of these teams that are going to be playing in the next week or so are pretty much playing for their playoff hopes. It's going to be interesting to see again because my team is also fighting for a playoff spot, and I'm kind of just looking at it to a point where I need teams that are ahead of us to lose, and then I need teams that I need teams that are above us to lose, and I need teams that are ahead of us to also lose, but like not the top seeds, but like the 3 and 6s, the 3 and 5s, the 3 5 and 1, just for my team to kind of make a little small jump because right now we said 3 and 6 with one game left where we play Code Red, where if we could win that game, we're also going to be one step closer to make a playoff spot. But again, we don't really hold our future to a point where if enough teams don't lose, we get knocked out. So we only could do what we could do, and we still need a couple things
Yeah,
to
yeah,
happen.
yeah. That's it. You don't hold your playoff hopes in your hands. You obviously get right. Like I said, you have to hope for get some W's for you guys, and hope for some teams
Yeah,
to
I
fall
want.
short. And
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Pigeons because we played the Pigeons last game. They're I believe this is like their third season in the league, and when I got into this game, um, I figured we're gonna win big. I was like, all right, we got this game, whatever. That they're up. They were up 22-0 against us with pretty much going into halftime. There's maybe like a minute left going to halftime. So they're way better than I expected. I score kept them a couple times. I was like, oh, these guys are not that good. But compared to seeing them play in Division 6 from I think where when they started to playing now, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Improved a lot. Their quarterback kind of made a little bit too many mistakes to end, where they kind of had the chance to kind of close it out, and unfortunately he didn't. But they're getting better, so it's nice to see a team starting in Division 6 and now they're in 5A, um, seeing improvement. So a little shout out to them.
oh yeah, all right. So let's hop over now to Division 4A.
Yeah,
So looking at 4A right now, obviously with the schedule, right? So it's week 13 for them. So a ton of games. Well, they're gonna matter this week, but there's a game coming up here tonight in Division 4A. So there's actually one game actually took place already tonight. So that was Team Ethnic knocking off the last chance by a score 41-25. So that actually took place tonight in probably was missing
roster
complex CN in Broussard.
that just
So
happened.
that
Yeah,
game already, yeah, exactly. That game already uploaded to the standings. So a big win there for Team Ethnic. There's another game going on tonight that's going to be taking place in about half an hour from now. The Ducks taking on the Ball Hawks to wrap up at least Wednesday's action. And then there's three games going on tomorrow. It's Mofos taking on Team Ethnic again. So Team Ethnic, two games in 2 nights, so back to back for them. Let's see if Team Ethnic can get another W here. We have Bible study taking on Back to the Future. That's going to be a huge game tomorrow at Stady Bear. And then wrapping up week 13 tomorrow night as well. It's going to be the Penetrators taking on Trap Stars. So a ton of big games taking place tonight, and some big, really big games coming up here tomorrow in this division.
That's a huge game by Team Ethic, by the way. Even though they played last
Oh
chance
yeah.
with the
Oh
bottom
yeah.
team, but pretty much if they lost that game, it would have been one step further to kind of clinch their playoff spot. Now they're pretty much hoping for Bible Study to lose one of their last two games, and then Ball Hawks as well. They want them to lose in one of their last games, so they don't even have to kind of
Yeah.
worry about how the rest of their games go. And then you said they play tomorrow, right, versus Mofo's. So again, if they could
Yeah.
win tomorrow versus Mofo's, I believe they will clinch the 12th seed no matter what, and maybe jump. Actually, no, sorry, they would
No,
actually
because Team Ethnic
claim.
right now is in 12th.
Yeah, they actually would claim the 10th seed if they beat Mofos because they'll drop. Mofos would be. Oh no, Mofos would be 4-6. They would be 4-6, but they'll have the tiebreak against them, unless Rick and Marty kind of end up winning versus Bible studies, where it'll be a three-way tie between those teams, and then you have to look at points against. And I think Mofos would probably end up winning out because they only have 212 right now for points against with one game left. So, I mean, it's easier. It's kind of easy. 212, 2 games left.
True.
Yeah, Mofos would
Yeah.
clinch. Yeah, they would clinch that tiebreaker between those three teams. But again, Team Ethic just wins, and then Rick and Marty loses. I mean, they jumped at 10 seed, and I'm assuming they'll have an easier matchup when it comes to the playoff situation. They'll play a division round versus the 7th seed compared to playing versus the 5th seed if they end up finishing the 12th spot. So I think you rather play versus the 5th seed. I think you rather play for the 7th seed compared to the 5th seed because sometimes a lot of 5th seeds can be 4th seeds or 3rd seeds. A lot of time the 7th seed is usually should be around the 7th seed. So
Yeah. But 100%. But again, that's all predicated on the fact that again, Mofos they have to. I mean, right now again, sitting with the 10th seed, right, with that 4-5 record, like you said, one game left. So that's predicated on them beating Team Ethnic, right? And again, so that game taking place tomorrow. So that's a huge game between Team Ethnic and the Mofos. And looking at the standings right now, right, with even like you look at a team like the Ball Hawks, right? Ball Hawks, like I said, Ball Hawks right now they're in action tonight against the Ducks, right? So that's a huge game.
yeah,
You look at the standings, right? Ducks 7-2. Ducks, right? They still have a shot, at least points wise, to be tied for first with Trap Stars and Stone and Delhi Legions, right? So the Ducks, it's an important game for them tonight as well, as they take on pardon me, the Ball Hawks.
yeah. If the Ducks could win, they'll go 8-2. If Trap Stars lose their last game, they'll go 8-2. We have a three-way tie where technically the Ducks should win out for points against. Right now they're at 219. Trapstars are at 230. So depending who allows the most points in these games, and also Trapstars losing, I mean the Ducks could go from a 3rd seed to a 1st seed, claim the number one spot. And again, when you're number one spot going to the quarterfinals, you play the lowest seed, so you could get a 10th, 11th, 12th compared to being that 3rd seed where you play the third lowest seed in the 3rd spot, which most likely will probably be a harder matchup for you. So the Trap
Yeah,
Stars end their season with the Penetrators, where the
depending,
Penetrators are
exactly,
six and
yeah,
three, and then the Ducks end their season with um, they end up playing the Ball Hawks again. So
Ball Hawks,
two,
yeah,
yeah, Ducks are looking to kind of win, maybe claim the 1st seed. Ball Hawks are looking to win to still make a playoff push with that tie that they have. If they end up winning the game, they'll go 3-6-1 with the tie, so they'll end up having 7 points. Where if Team Ethic ends up losing, they could jump them, and they also could jump Rick and Marty as well, just for the meantime because they play tonight. So again, a lot of things could happen. No one really has a secure spot. Looking at the 1 seed, 2 seed, 3 seed, anything could happen. Ambush pretty much sits a bit comfortable in that 4 seed, but again, None and Run have one more game left. Black Vipers have one more game left. The Penetrators have one more game
yeah,
left. Where it's gonna get shaken up if we have a couple ties. Ambush does have that tie, so they're 6-3-1. But if none run wins, the penetrators win. They jump ambush, so ambush could go from the 4 seed all the way down to the 6 seed. I don't think they could jump. They could drop any lower than that, uh, unless they have tie breaks. But there's so much things that could be going on, right? Like you have Dak the Future also
Yeah.
has 2 wins left. They have a tie. They have that one tie as well. So they could go 6-3-1. They could tie ambush being 6-3-1, and then points against they had 186. So there's still so much things that could happen, even though there's only 2 weeks left of football. So
That's exactly it, right? Again, like I said, big games coming up, especially tomorrow. Like I said, that Penetrators Trap Stars game, right? I mean, look at the standings. Trap Stars right now they're in first, right? 16 points. But if they get knocked off by the pardon me, by the penetrators, I mean that could shake up this whole entire division. So big games coming up tonight, and some huge games coming up Thursday in this division. Obviously, by the time this podcast comes out, those games have already been played. But again, huge games points wise, and even looking at Saturday, right? Only one game Saturday, Nut and Run against the Black Vipers. That's the only game taking place this coming weekend as we wrap up pardon me, week 14. But then, sorry, to wrap up week 14, we also have next Wednesday, so a week from now, Bible study, Rick and Marty again. Huge games right now taking place here in this division.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see. It's kind of what a lot of teams play for. We play for playoffs, so it's gonna be interesting who's in, who's out, and it's gonna be interesting when the playoffs do start. When we get to see the matchups moving forward after the regular season's over.
100%. All right, let's
Let's
hop
go
over
to
to Division 3.
yeah, Division 3.
So they're looking at 3 right now, man. We have, just looking at the schedule. So even week 3, right? Pardon me, Division 3. We have 4 games taking place tonight, right? So this is big stuff, man. Win Diesel bet the under. So that game has already been played. We don't have an update for you right now, but Vin Diesel bet the under. Himothy's, Ball Hawks, Caroline, Le Petit Caras. That's actually one of the games that's really looking forward to this week. And to wrap up things tonight, we also have Le Rancourt taking on Don't Mess with Texas. Tomorrow, one game taking place to wrap up week 13 here in Division 3. It's going to be Speed Academy taking on Eastway, another big game, especially with the standings of the playoffs again coming up very shortly here in FPF, especially here in Division 3.
Yeah, Division 3 is interesting. I think it's the only division that a lot of teams like the bottom. Sorry, that the bottom teams are kind of making the clear picture to see who's making playoffs. Again, for the Benitos, they finished their season 3-7, and unfortunately, they can make a jump. It doesn't matter if there's a three-way tie because they allowed too many points against compared to other teams. So they're not. They can't get any higher than the 17th seed.
Yeah,
So their season's
yeah.
pretty
So
much done. Um,
yeah,
Same thing goes for Ramfins. They can't make a jump either because they have too much points against. Mangoose end up just losing yesterday night versus Terror Squad. So unfortunately, their season's also done too because
mhm.
going 3-7, they've allowed 349 points and it's not even anywhere. They're not anywhere closer points against or any of those other teams that are going to be in that have 3 wins. So if they end up winning their next last game, same thing again for bet the under. Also losing. I believe you said they lost versus Speed Academy. Oh yeah, they lost versus Speed Academy 2 nights ago, 55-40. So again, they're gonna finish the season either 3-7 or 2-8, and unfortunately, because they have too many points against, they can't kind of make a jump. Same thing goes for Team Sexy. The most points they could score, the most points they could totally have is for him and Thieves as well. The most teams they can have four. The only team mathematically that's still alive is Ball Hawks. That's the
Yeah, but
only
it is
team that can,
yeah, exactly.
yeah, it's the only team that can make a jump. They do have that nice tie, so that's pretty good for them. Their points against is really not going to matter. They're coming for Nomads. So Ball Hawks, they have 2 games left. Um, they play Himothy's, which is a pretty good matchup for them. And then they play Big Fat Bats, which is going to be a pretty good game. So, Ball Hawks, all you guys have to do is kind of win your next game and then kind of are their hope Nomads lose. Nomads finish their season against Eastway, so again, that's going to be a difficult game for them. Eastway is one of the top teams right now, sitting at 6-2, and also they're looking to make a little jump too. They end up getting that win. For Eastway, they have 2 games left. They play Speed Academy and Nomads. So if they can win those 2 games, they technically go from the 7th seed as up to 3rd seed. So there's not like they're gonna kind of go easy. They're still looking to kind of jump in the standings. But back to the Ballhawks, if they could win one more game and Nomads could lose, they'll jump them. If Nomads win their last game, Ballhawks is gonna have to win both of their last 2 games. So it's literally between those 2 teams to kind of make playoffs. And then the Hustlers also as well. I mean, they could kind of get jumped. They sit right now at 4-5 with 1 game left. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see. They play Team Sexy. That's not doing too sexy right now. They sit at 1-8. So I mean, I feel like they feel pretty comfortable going into this game. Again, nothing is given. You still have to go out and still have to play and you still have to win, right? So,
Well,
but I think
exactly.
the two teams that kind of look at is Ballhawks and Nomads. I think those are the 2 teams that pretty much right now in this division is what we're kind of more looking at.
No,
To kind of make
you're right.
to make that
No, you're
last
right.
playoff,
Yeah.
to make the last playoff push to kind of see who's going to be the 16 teams that are going to be in the playoffs. But yeah, Ballhawks, Nomads. I'm excited to kind of see the next kind of game, especially for Ballhawks, right? They play literally tonight, right? 8 p.m. So, and I would say in 23 minutes when the results are kind of are posted, or maybe 25 minutes, because usually it's pretty fast in the games in Brossard. They get synced pretty quickly. They're gonna kind of see if they jump Nomads, because literally if they win tonight and it gets submitted in 30 minutes, they're gonna be ahead of Nomads, because Nomads only play April 6th, so they're gonna be ahead of them going into, well, let's just say the next couple days. And if they lose, then they're in a situation where they still have a chance. They're gonna have to win their next game, but they're gonna be at that. They're still gonna be at that still 18th spot, compared to if they win, they'll be in the 18th spot, and Nomads will be at the 17th spot.
So best of luck to all those teams. So for chance, like you said, Banditos, their season is done. With their most recent loss. So again, big things at stake for a bunch of these teams like you're talking about. So I will have to wait and see what happens. Again, like you said, a couple games happening tonight. Some games happening tomorrow. So I have to wait and see what happens and how Division 3 shakes out. Let's hop over to
Division
Division
two.
2 here. So looking at 2, so I mean, same thing, right? I mean, some games going on tonight. Party Crashers, KGP Legends, right? Big game tonight. Shot o'clock, Le Verge Fall. That's going to be taking place at 11. And then wrap up at least the Wednesday action. We have Flag Slayer Corp again, looking for the first W of the year, taking on LeBron Tourage. I mean, it's have versus have nots, but again, you still have to go onto the field and play the game. So Flag Slayer Corp again, they still have a chance to get their first W. And then week 13 wraps up Friday. So we're Friday night game. We have Heart 8 taking on Camping Boutin. That should be a slugfest between those 2 veteran teams. And that game takes place again Friday night at Stady Bear at 7 p.m.
Yeah. So again, you kind of were saying, Division 2 finishes week 14, so they don't have week 15. So by week 14, basically technically by April 6th, we're gonna kind of see who's actually in the playoffs. We might have to wait that long to kind of see, because Bruins, we're waiting for Hard 8 and Sodix. Those are 2 teams that are kind of that are in looking out. Right now, looking at the standings, right? You have the top teams. You have Idaho, LeBron Tourage, Cambute, Silent Ticklers, Bruins, KGP. All those teams are safe. They're in the playoffs. It doesn't matter if they lose the next couple games. They're in. KGP is the only team that's kind of looking to extend their standing push. They sit at the 6th seed with 3 games left, so they could literally jump up. They probably, if they win the next 3 games, they probably could jump up to the top seed, to be honest with you. With LeBron Tourage I think LeBron Tourage is playing Cycler Corp. They should win that game, so they'll finish 7-3. Idaho should also. So I know, sorry, Idaho plays KGP at the end. So KGP could technically jump to the number 1 seed, winning their last 3 games and being Idaho in the final, being Idaho as their last team, because they're probably gonna be the one defense with the less amount of points. And I don't believe KGP and LeBron Toronto played this season. No, they did not. So it's gonna be a points against versus. It was gonna be a points against, and I believe KGP is. They probably will win the points against competition. So KGP could jump as the number 1 seed, which is it's good for them. Looking at the bottom teams, right? You have Hard 8, that's 4-4. You have Stoics that are 4-5. You have Levej Full that are 3-6. You have Shuttle Clock that are 3-6, and you have Party Crashers that are in 3-6. Unfortunately for Party Crashers, just beating Shuttle Clock, I think they won by. I think we lost by 8, whatever. Unfortunately for them, they can't make playoffs. There's no possible way they can make playoffs, even if they finish 4-6, winning their last game versus KGP. They just have too many points against. It's to a point where Hard 8 has 2 games left. They allowed 258. Unless Party Crashers. I'm trying to do math here.
But
No,
so the Party Crashers right now are 3-6, right? So I mean, they're points wise, they're tied with Shot O'Clock, and like you said, with Flavor's Fall.
yeah,
Right?
but the
So
Vertical and Shuttle Clock are not in playoffs right now. They're out of playoffs, so they
yeah,
have to jump Stoics or Hard 8. But the problem is they have allowed too many points. Like the most points Party Crashers could have is 8, and that's gonna tie Hard 8 and Stoics. So they have to jump one of those teams. They can't catch anybody else, but they have too many points again. So unless they have a crazy game where they allow like 0 points and they blow out KGP, which I don't think is gonna happen. I think KGP will at least drop at least 25 on them. It's gonna be a situation where points or against are going to matter. So Stoics are also in a situation where if they win their last game versus KGP, they're in. They have no issues. They're going to be in. If for some reason Stoics lose their game versus KGP, it's going to be the point versus Levej Pro versus Shot O'Clock. Whoever wins that game, points against is going to matter. So let's just say Levej Full beat Shot O'Clock tonight, and Shot O'Clock only scores 20 points. If Stoics lose their game, they're gonna have to make sure that they don't allow KGP more than like 25 points, because the Virgin Pro has 283, Stoics have 292. So right now it's a plus minus of 9. So it's gonna be interesting. Like points against, it's gonna be very interesting to see. I mean, if Stoics win, they're in, no problem. But if they lose,
yeah,
it's gonna be like they might have to like start doing math and be like, hey, listen, because they get to find out right away. Levergeful and Shot O'Clock play tonight. So whoever wins that game, so let's just say Levergeful win that game, it's gonna be a point. Stoic's gonna have the back of their head, like, listen, we have to win our game, or if we lose our game, we can't allow X amount of points to be scoring us. And then the same thing goes for Hard 8, where they play Camp Brute and they play Bruins, where if they lose versus Camp Brute, the same thing's going to go for them, where if they lose versus Bruins, they're going to have the back of their head, okay, if we lose our last game, how many points can we allow to make sure Shot O'Clock or Le Vergeful, whatever team wins, the difference between the points against. If that makes
yeah.
sense.
I mean, and again, like so, like you're saying, obviously, with the whole points against thing, that's going to matter, right? Because I mean, you look at like Virtual and the Stoics, for example, right? They played, I believe it was week 10. Stoics whooped them. Stoics beat them. I think it was 52-18, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check that right here. That's what I've written down. Yeah, so yeah, 53. Pardon me. I had 53-18 written down, right? So that's back in week 10. That's the beginning of March. So Stoics ran right through the Virtual, but again, like you said, right? The points against matter,
Yeah,
and right now, like so if Liverpool fall again and Stoics again both have played 9 games, but Stoics have the advantage, at least they had the head tiebreaker. But again, it depends on everyone finishes with uh
four
tied
and six.
points
Yeah,
wise and that, right?
and then points against play a huge role in what happens. So, but again, I think the Stoics are going to be able to get in because again, they do have the head-to-head tiebreaker, and they are up points-wise. They're up 2 points on the first fall.
Yeah. So pretty much, Stoics tonight. Stoics don't really mind. They don't really care who wins the Virgin River shot o'clock because they have the tiebreakers head to head against them. What Stoics don't want is if Party Crashers end up winning their game versus KGP, they jump to 4-6, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say, example, Party Crashers go 4-6, Shot o'clock goes to 4-6, right? So that means there's two teams that are 4-6. So we become a tiebreaker no matter what. If Stoics lose their last game, they go into 4-6, and then the tiebreaker is points against. It's not head to head. And same thing, same way goes way if Le Verge will be shot o'clock tonight, 4-6. So mathematically, like common sensely, sorry, not really, that's not a word either. Stoics want to win their game so they don't have to deal with any of the situation, or they want to make sure Party Crashers lose their game, so again they don't have to deal with the situation. Or same thing if it's Party Crashers. If Party Crashers don't win, they want to make sure that Hard 8 at least win their game because they don't want to be in a three-way tie. And so if they get into a three-way tie, is where it gets kind of it gets a bit it becomes a situation where points against are going to matter. So unfortunately for Stoics, they play their next game April 6th. So they kind of have to. They're gonna wait. Party Crashers play their last game
against KGP
versus KGP. They play April. They play tonight. So they're going to be playing. They're playing right now, actually. So they're basically going to be able to see what they need and what they don't need, literally tonight. So if Party Crashers loses, they're like, great, okay, we're good, whatever. So they don't have to really worry about a tie break, and then they kind of have to wait for Hard 8 to make sure they win at least one of their last two games for that tie break not to happen. Because if it comes to a point, if Hard 8 loses their next game, right? They play on Hard 8 plays on April 3rd, and they play April 6th. They play at the same time as Stoics. So they kind of get to see what they need and what they're not going to need more tonight, unless Party Crashers win. If Party Crashers win, and then it's to a point where Chris is going to start doing math in his head. And he's going to, okay, well, we need this, we need that, we need this. It's going to be very interesting to see how things are going to unfold. Which I'm all for it, you know. Like when we lost our game versus Party Crashers, I was on my phone and my guys are like, "Oh, are we still in?" I'm like, "I don't think so." And I started doing the math. I'm like, you know what? Actually, yeah, we're still in it somehow. So
yeah, the math is mathing you right. So yeah, Chris Riviere, obviously the captain and the quarterback of the Stoics, he's gonna be looking at his phone or just his laptop, whatever the case may be. Obviously, if he hasn't done it already, trying to figure out the math. I mean, we're trying to make this as least confusing as possible. I think we made it more confusing, but less confusing at the same time.
yeah,
But again, the tiebreaker, obviously with the head to head and with the points wise and points against, where you have to worry about the most here, because of course in FPF, the most of the tiebreakers when it's two teams, or definitely when it's more than two teams, when it's three, as could potentially be the case here. What matters is points against, to make all this a little less confusing for you guys at home. Points against when it's teams that are tied points wise. When it's more than two teams, points against takes the precedence when it comes to the tiebreakers in FPF.
yeah. So I mean, also the guys that are in Division 2 and all the teams. Trust me, everyone knows what everyone needs. Like it's not everyone. Unless
it's not a surprise to them. It's just for the people at home that might
exactly.
not be in Division 2 that are wondering what happens.
Yeah,
Just yeah,
I think
and
the
again,
only. Sorry, go.
no, I was
No,
gonna
go
say
ahead.
because even all the tiebreaker stuff is on the FPF
Yeah.
website. So if you go to fpf.flagplusfootball.com, if you go down the right hand side, you will see what the schedule is. You will see all the tie breaking info, or in the standings as well. You'll see the tie break info on the right hand side.
Because like I think every team is pretty much veterans. The only team that probably doesn't really care as much is probably LeBron Tourage, because they're kind of not new, but you know they're just there to kind of play, and they're kind of seeing the standings like, okay, we're second. Whoever we play against, we play against. You know, they're not. I don't think they're kind of like committed to a lot of these teams. Like I was talking to Salad Ticklers, and I'm like, you know, it's really interesting on your schedule what's gonna happen. They're like, yeah, we have to win. We kind of did the math here and there, so a lot of other teams are kind of locked in. I'm pretty sure Chris also knows the situation as well too. I'm pretty sure he's kind of looking to see who's winning, who's losing. Same thing in my situation. Party crashers, we have a veteran like Frank, the rusher. He was kind of like trying to do some math, and he was like, "Yeah, we need this." I'm like, no matter, like, Frank, you guys are not making playoffs. Your season's over. But there's still that little hope here and there. So
Yeah, so, well, and what I said is, so Frankie Hogue, who you're talking about, right? The rusher, and I believe he's the captain or one of the captains or one of the leaders for sure on Party Crashers, right? You give him a little bit of hope. He knows better than anybody, right? Like, so all you need is a little bit of hope. Anything could happen once you get into the party, right? Once you get into the playoffs,
yeah,
you have to
so
get there first, obviously.
yeah. So I mean, by later tonight, after midnight tomorrow, pretty much the next time you get on the podcast, it's gonna be next week. I think, yeah, by next week, Division Two will be done, and we'll see who's in, who's in and who's out. So,
Yeah, there you go.
but right now, 7, 8, 9, 10th, 11 is still up for grabs. No one's safe in those spots, and again, number one, number two, number three, no one's safe. KGP is they still have 3 games left. One tonight, and then 2 coming up, where they can make that huge jump from being that 6th seed all the way to number 1 seed. So you might see them at 6 tonight, whenever this comes out, and then next week, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, how did KGP become number 1 by winning their next 3 games? So it's gonna be interesting to see what's gonna unfold and who's gonna be end up at the number 1 seed and who's gonna get that last number 8 seed as well too, right? Because no one's safe at number 1, no one's safe at number 8. So still a lot of football to happen.
All right, let's hop over to the final division here, Division One. Party Crashers still perfect on the season. They're from 9-0, a huge blowout victory, 33-12 over Kevin Wyeth and the Infantry. I'm as shocked as anybody that this game wasn't. Pardon me, that this game was a
Yeah,
blowout.
I
Again, Party
watched
Crash
the
is
game.
still perfect. Okay, so we'll talk about it
Yeah, I
now.
watched the game. Yeah. No, Party Crash is the real deal. Their
I'd say so.
defense
Yeah.
is their defense. Like, one thing I have to say, Party Crashers, the one issue that they had was, one, they sucked at deflagging. That was one thing that they had a lot of issues to, and two, they blew so many zones. Like, it, guys were trying to do too much. They were playing too much man to man. They were trying to say, like, okay, we're athletic enough to kind of stop you're athletic enough. Like we're better athletes than you, so we'll play man to man the whole game and we'll live by that. But you can't do that in certain divisions because quarterbacks are good enough to kind of just eat you apart, right? They kind of, okay, you're playing man, I'll do double crosses, I'll do post corner, and like it's hard to cover a post corner. Now I feel like they're more
Yeah.
into the
Yeah.
zone switch. They do man here and there, but they catch teams off guard. And I believe they picked off Kevin twice this game for pick
Yeah.
sixes.
They ran it back for touchdowns, both
Yeah,
picks.
for
Yeah.
twice, and it was just like it was a perfect call at a perfect time. Like it seemed like it was man. It ended up being, I think, a man cut where Jean for the first pick, he was like playing deep, and then he kind of switched over he was playing corner, and he switched over with the halfback. The halfback pushed over top. He came right underneath. Kevin didn't see him. First pick six, and kind of the same situation happened again. Where, yeah, don't get me wrong, like Kevin kind of knew it, where he said, "Oh, I should have went over top." He wasn't sure about the 50-50, but they're improving and they're making it very difficult for a lot of quarterbacks and a lot of offenses in general to kind of just march down the field. We kind of saw it, right? They're the best defense. They only allowed 184, and they're the best offense. Jean Lee is doing a great job putting up points. He's making he's forcing rushers and just defenses to kind of like take a step back, and he has time to throw. And his athletic wise, going up and down, it's to a point where I don't find, you throw like a jump ball and it's 50-50. With these guys, most of these athletes, it's not 50-50, it's 60-40.
Oh, I said, dude, Sorry, you bring up a great point right there. So I wrote a Division Two article last week, right? Talked about Party Crashers, their Division Two team, right? And it's a little bit different, obviously, than the Division One team, at least record wise, right? And one of the things I said was one of the positives about their offense, at least in Division Two. So to go back there for a second, was a lot of the jump ball stuff, right? I had talked about just their ability to throw those jump balls. It's not matched by too many teams, period, not just in Division Two or Division One, but in FPF, right, with the athletes they have on offense with this team, and you're seeing that and defensively, right, to the point that you brought up, right. It's they Party Crashers, whether it's Division Two or Division One, they can beat anybody on athleticism. And we're seeing one of the things I think they're so successful at here in Division One is the fact that they're missing the athleticism with execution. That's the difference I think between their Division One team and their Division Two team. Is Division One, they're not just beating teams with their ability to jump higher, to make more explosive plays, that they're mixing in that execution, and that's I think one of the reasons why they're sitting at the top of the division.
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying, but one thing you have to realize that they're well, I mean, they do have a different quarterback for Division Two compared to Division One, but
Yeah.
I also think that's not the biggest issue. I think their defense it's a bit different. Jean Slee also plays on the defense for Party Crashers for Division One, and he plays that middle position. I think he's more captain wise, and he's able to kind of tell guys where to go. So I think that's a difference between Party Crashers and Division Two and Division One. I think he's kind of the whole, and he kind of helps the defense a lot. And when he again, he does the same thing for our team, for our Division Two team, where if you need a player to make a play, he's going to be one of those players that makes a play for you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
one thing, like their Division Two team is they've lost. I think out of the 9 games they played, the games that they lost, they either lost between 1 to 5 points. So it's not like they're getting blown out by teams. It's not like they're losing by double digits. They've been only losing by 1 or 2. So I think at the end of the day, it's execution where the Division One team is performing better than the Division Two team. The Division One team, they're making those pick sixes happen and they're taking over a game compared to the Division Two team where they're not getting as much stops and they're keeping teams in. So like again, the infantry versus party crashers game where example at the beginning it was going fine
Mhm.
and then party crashers were in a situation where their first drive I think it was incomplete. Jean Slee threw I don't know, a dot back in the end zone, scored their first touchdown. It was fourth and
Right.
literally 25. So they score there again, the Jean Slee effect right there, and then to the point where Kevin Wyatt is driving down the field, and I think at the point of that, I think it was 12-6 for Party Crashers, and then they get a big pick six from Hejean, which he doesn't play on the Division Two team. So there's just sometimes there's those key guys that you're kind of missing our Division Two team compared to Division One team. But I think the Division One team is just executing at the right moment, and that's sometimes where that takes from losing a game to winning a game.
So let me ask you, how is that different than what I just said? And that's
What do you
exactly what I just said, dude. I just said the biggest difference between the Division One team and Division Two team is besides the length and athleticism they have on both teams. I literally just said that execution is the biggest difference.
No, but it made it seem like you kind of were saying like their Division Two team, they're not losing by big points. They're losing by 1 to 5 points.
Right.
It made it seem like
But
it made it seem like you were kind of saying they're losing by more than what they're actually losing by.
no. I said I literally said the biggest difference between your Division One team and Division Two team was this execution.
Okay. I sorry. I got to the. I thought you meant like it seemed like you're kind of saying that they were losing games like by more than what they're actually losing by. That's
No,
one thing I
I
was.
never said that. I never said. Okay, so I we'll have to go back and see this, but I'm literally saying that the biggest difference between the two teams because the record wise, it's not really the same in the Division One team with the Division Two team. I'm not wrong to say that. I think though the biggest reason why they're having more success in one division versus another is execution. Now they're not getting blown. They're not getting blown out. They're not getting smoked in a lot of the Division Two games. They're not. But one of the biggest differences between one team who is sitting, they're 9-0 right now, right? In this division. Let me just double check this here. I'm pretty sure I led with that saying that they're 9-0. I'm gonna double check myself to make sure. Yeah, they're 9-0, right? They're sitting at the top of this division. At least, yeah, 9-0 in Division One, right? Let's go back and see what they are here in Division Two. The Division Two record, because I was just writing about them last week in the article that I put out. In Division Two, their record is 3-6, right? They're 3-6 in Division Two. They're 9-0 in Division One. Omar, what was that? Sorry. Oh, okay. Sorry, Quaysie disconnected. Anyways, so his face is stopped in time. But my whole point is in Division One, they're 9-0. In Division Two, they're 3-6. My biggest thing about that, and I don't think I'm wrong, is the fact that in one division they're executing more than the other. And I think that's kind of what you said too. But my point is, you're
Yeah.
saying what I just said.
Okay, I just my mistake then. I just thought, yeah, it's fine. We're saying the same thing.
So good, so good. Yeah. Anyways, they're sitting at top of the division. I don't know, like we said, party crashers. Um, they are, so let's look at here again. Yeah, big win over the infantry. On back on the 28th, which I don't have a calendar in front of me, and I'm not looking at the schedule.
3 days ago.
The 28th was last Saturday, so a big win for them. Kudos to them. And again, I'm surprised that it was such a blowout. Again, the infantry, still a top team. They still have the GOAT at quarterback in Kevin Wyeth. You know what? I'm gonna ask you right now, uh, and I don't want to say it's recency biased, but maybe it is a bit. Is Jean-Lee Alexi the best player right now in FPF?
Best player. So we're talking about hybrid, right? Quarterback,
Period.
receiver,
Just period. Is he the
defense.
best player in FPF? No. Is he the best player in FPF? That's my question. Is Jean-Lee Alexi the best player in FPF?
Yeah, but it has to be some context because like in a whole, in like a hybrid role, or just in I disconnected.
No. I don't think you're disconnected. I'm
Because like if you, I get what you're saying, like it's a yes or a no, like type of answer, but like I need to like, are you saying like in a like because again on offense you could be a double quarterback, right? So I'm asking him, are you saying like in a hybrid or just
okay. This is what I'm saying. In FPF, we have Division One, we have Division Gun six
yeah,
B right
he's the
now,
best.
right? There's zillions divisions in FPF. The best player on the best team right now, Party Crashers is the best team in Division One. Division One is the best division in FPF, at least from the men's perspective. Is Jean-Lee and Lexi the best? That's what I'm asking you because you're one of the best players we have in FPF yourself, right?
Yeah,
Is Jean-Lee and Lexi the best player, regardless of the position right now in Flag Plus Football? And Quincy got cut off, so I'm gonna answer that question myself. All right, so it's like I'm saying, man. So when again, I'm talking about like who again, we have a guy, Jean-Lee Alexi, 9-0 team, right? FPF, we have divisions, right? We have from one, we have all the way through six, and probably we'll have 7, 8, 9, 10 in the next couple of years. We never know with the way this league is growing. I personally think if we're looking at the top division, the cream of the crop in FPF, which is Division One, It's not Division 2, it's not Division 3, it's not Division 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever. Division 1. The guy who was in charge of the best team in the best division is Jean-Lee Alexis. I want to put a comparison. Patrick Mahomes, right? Kansas City Chiefs, not this past year. The Chiefs were horrible because of injuries to Mahomes and other players and age, whatnot. Who have we thought is the best player in the FPF the last couple of years? Pardon me, in the NFL? It's Patrick Mahomes the last couple of years, except for last season. I'm saying, I think Jean-Lee Alexis, who is leading the right now undefeated Party Crashers in Division 1, I'm saying Jean-Lee is the best player right now, regardless of position in FPF. He's the top guy on the top team. That's my pick for number 1 player in FPF.
Can you hear me?
What say you?
Oh, you're
I'm not talking to myself.
no.
I was for a while, but
so like for me, I'm looking at more to the fact like if I'm a player and I'm going against someone, it's to a point like who do I not want to go against in offense? If like some receiver and I'm playing versus defender, and if looking back at it, if I'm a defender going against a receiver, if I'm rusher going versus a quarterback, I'm looking at that in that aspect. I think Chauncey is the most what's the word kind of saying when someone could do more than
electric,
one.
athleticism.
Yeah, exactly. He's more versatile. Is that
versatile?
Yeah, versatile. Sorry, I think he's the most versatile FPF player by far, just because he plays everybody. But I don't want to say he's the best player. If
Why?
Personally, if I'm gonna give someone the best player in FPF, I would have to say the best player is Jerry Murphy.
Okay, is that recency bias though?
Sorry?
Do you think is that recency bias? Is that because he like what he's doing right now? Like I'm talking.
I just think I think Jerry Murphy, athletic wise, I think like on defense he's not the greatest, but he works in a system. And then offensive wise, it's someone I do not want to guard. Last thing, I don't want to guard Jean-Lee, but I feel more comfortable guarding Jean-Lee than I am Jerry Murphy. And if I'm the receiver, sorry?
Why do you say that?
That I'm more comfortable guarding Jean-Lee than Jeremy? Well, first of all, size. Big size difference.
Okay.
I'm around the same size as Jean-Lee. And I think me and Jean-Lee, like we're basically the same type of player compared to Jeremy Murphy, where he has a wingspan on me. Where I want to say he's probably faster than me at this point. I don't think Jean-Lee's faster than me. I think we're about the same speed. I think Jeremy is a bit faster than us.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, I think Jeremy's a bit faster than us. And just the fact that he's a true wide receiver. I'm not saying Jean-Lee's not, but I feel comfortable lining up Jean-Lee than I feel comfortable lying versus Jerry Murphy. So I'm basing off that. And same thing. If I'd rather, it's a bit close on who's guarding me. I think I'd rather Jeremy guard me than Jean-Lee, just because Jean-Lee's more a defender than Jeremy's a defender. So there's also that too. But I just think Jeremy's more athletic, both sides of the ways compared to what Jean-Lee is. But it's close. Like it's really, really close. But it's more like I'm more concerned to be playing versus Jeremy Murphy than I am playing versus Jean-Lee.
Okay, and listen, I respect your take on that because again, you play in higher divisions, I don't. And let's be honest, Jeremy Murphy is a former CFL wide receiver, and let's call a spade here. I just think And again, he does have the athleticism. And even last week when we had Guillaume Ballon on the show, right, teammate of Murphy with the Braves, he was saying that Murphy is getting better as a defensive back. So I have to pay attention, and you got to respect that as well. I just think from the versatility that you're talking about, but like obviously again, a guy in Alexi who plays quarterback, who plays receiver, he plays rusher, he's played defensive back as well, right? I think he definitely could do more on the field, I think, right, at least right now, than Murphy can. Um, I just think that again, if you look at Patrick Mahomes with the Chiefs, right? Again, not last year, but in general, throughout his tenure, he's already a first ballot Hall of Famer. If he never comes back from this ACL injury and says I'm done, even though that's not going to be the case, unfortunately, I hate the Chiefs. But if he says I'm never playing ball again, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer without a doubt, right? And I think right now, if we gave out Hall of Fame, we do give out Hall of Fame, I guess plaques or whatever the case may be. Jean-Lee Alexi is already in Hall of Fame for FPF, and I guess if Jeremy Murphy, who's only played the last couple of seasons, has more time to play FPF under his belt, he'll be a Hall of Famer as well. Again, I just think you take top guy from the top team in the top division, who happens to be leading and is the driving force behind a team that is right now undefeated. I can't say that he's not the best player right now in FPF. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. It makes sense, especially the season that Party Crashers are having in Division 1 and in co-ed. Not co-ed, and competitive 5v5.
Five, five. Yeah.
They're dominating, right? But this is their first year that they are dominating, right? So
right, true.
Is it going to be a habit? Is this something we're going to see constantly, or is this are they, they say, are they false kings? So I'm team wise. I'm not saying constantly wise. I'm saying team wise, right? But again, it's hard to give someone, I think, the best player just because there's so many good players. Again, James Drysdale as well. Like he's gotten way better on defense compared to the last 2-3 years, where I didn't feel like James Drysdale was a defensive player, but he's gotten better and he's starting to understand it. James Drysdale is also an insane rusher as well too. He doesn't rush at all, but he's
he's underrated. He's underrated as a rusher.
Yeah, if you put James Drysdale as a rusher, I mean, I don't think a lot of mobile quarterbacks are running by him. So there's also that as well too. So it's very hard. It's very hard to kind of compare who's the best player, just because it's like if you tell me who's the best offensive player, it's like, okay, it's easier to kind of break down who's the best snapper. Okay, who's the best quarterback? But just for kind of like everything, Jean-Lee gives you the most because he could snap, he could play quarterback, he could play receiver, he could play DB.
And that's why I think he's the best player in FPF. And you said it right there. He gives you the most. That's why. That's my main. Yeah, I said a whole bunch about the whole 9-0 thing, but that's why he gives you the most. Period out of every single position.
You can put him in every position you want, and he's not gonna be bad at it. You can put him as a rusher. Yeah. You can put him as a snapper. So, sorry, please. You can put him as a rusher. You can put him as a snapper. You can put him as a quarterback. You can put him anywhere on the field, and he's gonna excel. He's gonna play good. So that's the benefit you get from him, right? But like, again, if you're already with a good team, and then you're like, okay, I need a top receiver that's like gonna excel. Like, again, it's weird to say because how good Party Crashers are, and he becomes a great player, but also a great role player in that system. Like he doesn't make Party Crashers; the team makes it. He does a huge for defensive wise. They're in a circle. They bounce off each other very well. For offensive wise, he does a great job at quarterback compared to the quarterbacks as he had. But it's kind of saying like, if you bring a Kevin Wyeth in a Party Crasher system, do you think Party Crashers would be the same?
Depends. I mean, would the Division 1 team be as good with Kevin Wyeth, a quarterback, versus Jean-Lee? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, exactly.
Good question. That's a very good question.
Or even again, John Mayer, great guy too, has a system.
True.
Like again, Kevin Wyatt the last few years, I think that's also depending on chemistry, right? Because that becomes a big thing.
But that's the biggest thing. Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, party crashers get away with a lot of athleticism to a point where they win those jump balls, they win those 50-50 balls at times, or they manhandle teams, which it benefits a quarterback like Jean Slee because he could put it up for his guys and they're gonna make a play. It happens at least one or two plays where the ball goes in the air and his guys are coming down with it, which is a big
jump ball city, 100%.
Which is a big difference compared to a lot of teams where you don't get the benefit. Like, for the Braves, they have Gab.
They have Gab. I was gonna say they have Gab and Jeremy Murphy can win a couple jump balls too there.
But again, Party Crashers defense help
and
out
Drysdale.
Yeah, like I remember I saw a highlight where Braves put a jump ball. It was Party Crashers versus Braves, and John Mayer or William Slade put a pretty good ball up in the air for Gab coming down the sideline, and I forgot which player for Party Crashers, but he just batted that down, like, and usually that's a catch that Gab is gonna have. So like again, it helps a lot for the role players that they have. But I don't want to get off topic. I find it's a hard question. I feel like it's a hard question, but it does benefit John Slee the fact that he plays every position.
That does factor into it for sure. The fact that he plays every position. I'm just thinking. I'm thinking it from this context too, right? I mean, I feel that if you look at this Party Crashers team, right? This is in Division 1, right? So obviously it's Sean Lee again. He's the quarterback of the team. Yada. I talked about this already. Look at their Division 2 team. Right, we talked about it already. Right? They're 3-5 right now in Division 2, right? If I'm not mistaken. The Party Crashers. Who's not on their team this year?
For Division 2?
Yeah.
I believe they're missing. They don't have Tejan. I don't think he's played with them enough.
Jean Lee has not played with them this year. Jean Lee has not played with them this year, and that's kind of my point, right? He's not there this year. Usually, it's him and his brothers, right? Jordanson and Jordan, right? It's usually the three of them playing, or their families playing all together. He's not there this year, Jean Lee. They're not even 500. Right? All these guys are playing on this Division 1 team. They're 9-0. Who's the driving factor behind that? I'm pretty sure it's Jean Lee.
No, you're right. It makes a big difference.
I could be wrong. I'm just saying that this is just my opinion, man. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to agree with me because it's my opinion. You don't have to agree at all. I'm just saying I think that's those are two of the main reasons. Again, he's not under he's not under Division 2 team. They're under 500. They're struggling to make. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. To be honest with you, in Division 2, I start this division I write for, and have an article actually coming up So by the time this episode comes out, I think it'll be Saturday. Putting out an article this weekend for Division 2, so make sure to check that out. But he's not on their team. They're under 500. He's leading the team. He's the man on the best on the number 1 team in the number 1 division. They're undefeated. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you're right. It makes it's a big difference. Huge difference. Can you hear me, Brent?
Sorry?
Oh, can you hear me? Okay. Because I just
sorry, I was putting my butter down.
My internet.
All right.
So let's just finish. It's kind of just finished with Division 1. Kind of get out the way.
We did them already.
No, we didn't talk about.
We didn't talk. All right, my bad. All right, cool.
We talked. We talked about.
We did.
It was a Party Crasher show. We didn't talk about anything else.
Yeah, right.
We talked about how they beat Infantry. So they actually play. Infantry plays a rematch.
Right.
Infantry plays a rematch versus Party Crashers. That's going to be interesting to see. Playoffs. To be honest with you, everyone makes playoffs, so don't really have to talk about that. Regarding matchups, it is what it is. We'll find out in a couple weeks. For the scheduling, we have 2 games. It's going to be happening tomorrow and Friday. We have One Stop versus Infantry, so Infantry is going to try to bounce back, and then we have Vultures versus Royal Lumini. So again, 2 teams. Infantry is one of them. Royal Lumini has also been struggling this year, so they're definitely going to want to try to win some games. Right now, they're not having the best season. Same thing with Infantry as well. Infantry is 3-5. Royal Lumini is 2-5. These are 2 teams that usually are the higher the seeds, but this year you have like Vultures that are doing pretty good. And then you have the bottom teams, right? It's kind of interesting also to see you have number 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So 5 teams that are going to go below 500 this year. You're gonna have One Stop that's gonna either finish 4, 5, and 1, or 3, 6, and 1. Infantry actually could go 5 and 5. So I take it back. They actually could be they go 500, and then Royal can't, and then ECW also can't as well too. So it's kind of interesting to see. You really have like the top dogs and then the bottom dogs. So kind of like usually you have Braves and Infantry, but this year it's going to be Party Crashers and Braves. So you still have the top 2 teams, but we have a name change where Party Crashers are one of the top teams.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about it all year, right? In this division, like a lot of the teams we thought would be kind of leading the way are struggling, to say the least, right? Look no further than the Infantry. But you're right. Again, for all teams making the playoffs, I want to pump the brakes and be like, okay, let's see what happens when the real season begins with all these teams. I will say though, shout out to One Stop. Big win, 38-36 over Fins Up this past week. Willpower not in the lineup for Fins Up. So Simon Deschamps, who's usually the quarterback for Jagerbomb. He's a receiver, defensive back on Fins Up. He had a good showing, 6 TD passes, 300 yards in the game, but end up coming out, pardon me, with the loss in that game, coming on the short end of the stick, at least in that matchup, losing by 2. Janai Copeland Lewis, 2 TDs. Thomas Angelin is the former DB, playing receiver now here in FPF. He had 2 touchdowns in that W as well. So big shout out to those guys on getting the W in that game. So we looking at the standings though, like you said, all teams do make the playoffs. So you're right about that, but with this whole, besides the Party Crashers again, Braves 6-3, Vultures, like you said, 5-3, Fins Up dropping to 4-6, One Stop 3-5-1. No, but that win is huge because what it does now, it keeps them, it puts them up, I should say, pardon me, into 5th place now, right? Because before they were in 6th, the Infantry with their big loss to the Party Crashers dropped down now to 6th, right? So you have that kind of 4-5 matchup, right? So if you're One Stop now with that W, if the playoffs started today, well, technically, the Fins Up right now, Fins Up at least is locked in right now to 4th. One Stop now with that W over Fins Up, they're 1 point behind Fins Up. So I mean, there's no advantage with the 4th and 5th seed. There's no home field advantage right in FPF, unfortunately. But chances are we're going to see that One Stop versus Fins Up matchup again in the playoffs in a couple of weeks, right? So I mean, right now, if you're One Stop, I mean, you kind of got the last laugh over Fins Up. Willpower wasn't there, so that is a huge difference. But I'm wondering now, like, how much confidence, Quaysie, do you think that gives One Stop? The fact that they went toe to toe, yes, willpower wasn't there, but they knocked off a very tough Fins Up team. And considering they met in week 5, Fins Up beat them 24-13. You go from scoring 13 points against somebody to dropping 38. That's a huge difference.
Yeah, it is a huge difference, but we also have to realize it's kind of saying, to be honest with you, we have to give respect to Willpower,
Yep.
and
Yep.
the fact that he's doing his thing and he's becoming a very good quarterback that no one really talks about.
He's elite. I'd say he's elite, to be
Yeah,
honest, right now.
exactly. But he's not talked about enough. Like when people are talking about
You're right.
FPF
You're right.
quarterbacks, no one's talking about
You're right.
Willpower, right? So yeah, it's a good win for One Stop for kind of ending. They have one more game left. They play Infantry on tomorrow, basically. So it's a good win for them to gain that to going 3-5 and then ending their season with Infantry and whatever happens there. But it's kind of saying like, Willpower is the captain of Fins Up team, right? He's the quarterback, and he's been putting them in. I guess even last season or 2 seasons ago, he's a quarterback. We played them when I was playing infantry in Division 2. He knocked us out in the second round, and he did his thing. He ended up doing the last drive, and it kind of showed me like, okay, this guy's actually good, because I'm also a player that didn't really give him his respect, and I kind of said, oh, it's willpower, like it is what it is. But we're kind of starting to see that he understands how FPF works. He understands how flag works. He understands on the system and what he has to do to win games. So kind of going back into the win from one stop, like it's kind of saying like, yeah, you guys won, but you're missing your quarterback. Same example when Braves lose versus a team where they don't have John Mayer, or infantry loses when they don't have Kevin Wyeth. We kind of say like, well, they didn't have that quarterback. You're missing your key guy.
Right.
In the situation, So that's the only thing where, like, yeah, great job, one stop. You guys won that game, but you don't they don't have their starting quarterback. So I think we kind of have to look at it the same way where we give respect to the Braves, gave respect to the Party Crashers, give respect to Royal Lumiere. Like we have to kind of give them their due, kind of saying you're missing your quarterback.
100%.
You guys only lost by 2, Again, one stop, you guys, they still won the game. At the end of the day, it's kind of what we're saying. It's next man up. Like it is what it is. So it's not your fault that they didn't have their quarterback, but it's also to the point where Will's kind of at that status where you're missing your quarterback. It's a big thing.
For sure, very true. And again, they didn't have a scrub. Simon Deschamps, a top end quarterback, at least in division, like let's say like 3, and you can even make the argument maybe 2, right? He's not a scrub, but again, he's not willpower. And so you're right though. You have to give one stop credit for the win, but you also have to put an asterisk beside it, the fact that willpower wasn't there. So I mean, that's gonna be motivation for Fins Up to get the W if they play one stop in the playoffs, which I think they will. And if you're one stop, you're like, hey, listen, whoever you had at quarterback is not our problem. We've shown now we know some things we could do against, at least against their team uh defensively, something to work against the defensive defense. So I'll be excited to see what happens if these teams meet up in the postseason, which I suspect they most likely will.
Yeah, it's gonna be a very interesting game if they meet up. It's gonna be to be honest, I think that's gonna be a great matchup. If they
yeah. No, that's it, 100%.
Yeah, that's 100%. A matchup where you're like, that's a true. Because again, these are 2 teams that usually would end up in the 7th or the 8th spot, and they would have to play one of the powerhouses, right? So the fact that they could end their season the 4 and 5 and play in the first round to give themselves that one of them is going to have to advance, right? So it's going to be kind of nice to see that one of these teams are probably going to be in the semis instead of being knocked out the first round, where usually that's a situation that usually does happen. I think that's pretty much it, right? For to kind of talk about going to next week. We have we have two games tomorrow. One game tomorrow, one game on Thursday it's infantry versus one stop, and then Friday we have Vultures versus Royal Lumiere, and then going to week 14. That's going to be on Saturday actually. So we're might as well kind of go through it. East W versus Vultures, Infantry versus Party Crashers, and Royal Lumiere versus the Braves. So it's gonna be an interesting matchup. Infantry versus Party Crashers. We're gonna get that rematched to kind of see if Party Crashers are actually gonna finish our Party Crashers gonna have that perfect season 10-0, or is Kevin Wyeth and his squad gonna be able to have something to do with it and give them their first loss of the season? And then Royal Lumiere kind of get to play Braves. A good matchup for them just before playoffs, to trying to get their stuff together.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's a good tune-up right before the postseason, like you said, right? Royal Lumiere, for them to have to take on the Braves, you can't ask for a better test than that. I'm wondering, like the infantry, right? Looking at them right now, are they one and done in the playoffs, right? I mean, look at it. I mean, look at the last couple of games. They lose to the Vultures. Okay, no shame in that. They turn around, they lose to Royal Lumiere. They actually kind of get blown up by Royal Lumiere. They lose by 17. They knocked off Fins Up, so credit to them 2 Saturdays ago. They knocked off Fins Up 51-46, but then they turn around, then they get smoked last Saturday, right, by by Party Crashers. They put up 2 touchdowns. Well, when's the last time Kevin Wyatt's been held to 2 touchdowns, right? It's cool. We got to see Pat Jerome, FPF Hall of Famer. He played in that game, but I mean, they got held to 2 touchdowns. So now they take on One Stop tomorrow night, being Thursday, and then they finish out the regular season on Saturday, right against the Party Crashers. Like I said, can they knock out the Party Crashers, getting their first L of the season? Right now, I would say no, but you don't want to bet against Kevin Wyatt. It's basically 2 Saturdays in a row they're taking on the Party Crashers.
Yeah.
I expect them to rebound from what they showed last Saturday, but do I have a lot of faith in them to pick up the W? Not really, to be honest.
Yeah, so when we're kind of saying when you're saying the one and done situation, they are very fortunate how the seedings are and how the bottom teams are kind of struggling, right? Easy, they're not gonna finish below Easy Double and Royal Lamar. I think they're even if they'll probably be one stop and they'll probably lose versus Party Crashers, so they'll go 4-6, and I think that's gonna secure their 6th spot.
Right.
Technically, the team that they should play is the Vultures in the first round. If the math is kind of adding up, Party Crasher will get number 1, Braves will get number 2, Vultures 3, Fins up 4, One Stop 5, Infantry 6, Royal 7 and 8. I think the seedings are probably going to stay how it is. Vultures, I mean, it's not the greatest matchup just because how good the Vultures are playing right now. But I mean, if you're Infantry, like, would you rather play Fins up, One Stop, Easy W? Because Royal Lamar could be a scary team when it comes to playoff, depending if Jesse's on or off. But again, it's not like at least they don't have to play Braves or Party Crashers the first round, because then it could have been a one and done. At least you play versus a Vultures team where if Benny doesn't have the greatest game, and again, you have Ethan versus Benny, right? So Benny's not going to be able to use his legs as much. He's going to be the only thing that doesn't make an advantage is that Ethan and Benny are around the same size. So Benny's able to see, so that does help Benny a lot.
Yeah.
But again, legs wise, running wise, not the greatest matchup. So there's like it's good and it's bad, you know. Fortunately that's a good thing for Ben, and the fact that that's not two bad things, you know, compared to playing versus like a Phil Ferrand, where his length he has length and then he has speed, right? So, but again, I can't if I'm the Infantry and I'm playing the Vultures. I mean, I can't complain as much because they're having a shit season, and with their shit season, they don't have to play one of the top dogs like a Party Crasher or Braves. So I don't think it's going to be a one and done for them. I think it's going to be a weird matchup to play the Vultures in the first round, but I don't think it's a one and done. I think they're going to probably come out of that game and they're going to have to play versus the Braves in the semis. So that's going to be a very interesting game to kind of see the Braves and Infantry play in the semis. But I mean, I don't think it's a one and
done. All right, that's fair. That's fair. I just think right now, like, luckily for them, the playoffs don't start today. Luckily, they have 2 more games to kind of get themselves right. Speaking of the Infantry, so we'll have to see whether they do that or not. I just think, again, 12 points doesn't matter if you're facing the Party Crashers or the good fellas from Division 6B, right? You got to score more than 12 points. So they have some time. Yeah, they got some time to kind of right the ship. We'll have to see if they do that or not. But maybe it's a little too harsh to say to be one and done. I'm just saying, depending on who they face. Again, like I said, they're probably not going to face the Braves or the Party Crashers in the first round of the playoffs. They probably will actually have to take on the Vultures. That's a different animal. It's a different beast. The Vultures are having a good season, but regular season and playoffs two different things, as you know, right? So, and maybe they can knock out the Vultures first round. I don't know. Right now, I'm just not liking what I'm seeing out of the Infantry, but they have some time to figure things out.
Yeah, it's a long season, and again, man, playoffs is not the same thing as regular season.
Yeah, that's it. Right. That's it.
I think that wraps it up for part 1, episode 1.
Yeah,
just pretty long.
Yeah. Quickly before we sign off, a couple of things. Obviously, the ratings for the spring/summer season are coming out. They should be out by now. Obviously, by the time this episode does come out, registration will have opened for the spring season. So go to should have opened. Go to FlagPlusFootball.com to register yourself as an individual, or clearly, obviously, to register your team. don't wait around because registration goes, the spots fill up quickly. So again, make sure to go to FlagPlusFootball.com. Obviously, check out the stories on Instagram by Omar and by Ali Reza. Mirror Productions. Go on, check out all the stories and that. Find out all the late breaking info on Instagram and pardon me, on all social media. Just want to give a shout out, Andy Peterkin, Emerson and Tyson's dad. One of the best players this country has ever put out. He broke 2 ribs on Monday. I was scorekeeping his game for 35 plus. Paul Lapierre, the menace that he is, tried to break up a pass, and Andy went up to catch the ball, and Paul basically hit him in the ribs, not on purpose. There was no malice behind it, but he basically broke 2 ribs. He had to cancel the game, so that'll be made up at a later date. So just want to give a shout out and a get well soon. Wishes to Andy Peterkin, a stand-up guy, head coach of the LaSalle Warriors midget team. He does a lot for that program. Former coach of Darius Reed, who we talked about earlier before. So again, shout out to Andy Peterkin. Get well soon, man. 2 broken ribs sucks, and hopefully he'll be back on the field sooner than later. So yeah, I just want to give him a shout out before we sign off here.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Also, Dylan also got hurt too. One of the other refs too.
Dylan Taylor, yeah.
Yeah, I think he tore his ACL.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because he was with me on Monday. He was scorekeeping on Monday. When did that happen?
Not this Monday. Last Monday.
I'm sure he was at the field this past Monday. I want to say. Maybe he wasn't. Sorry,
It might have been.
No, sorry. I saw Dylan on Saturday. Sorry, the scorekeeping on Saturday. My bad. All right, well, get well soon to Dylan, man. That's sorry.
Yeah, so I think it just happened. So today we're Wednesday. I think it happened on Sunday.
Oh, jeez. Okay, yeah, because he was scorekeeping on Saturday, I believe, at Concordia with me. Well, okay, we'll get well soon to Dylan as well, man. Yeah, man. That's those soft tissue injuries, man. Eesh. That's bad stuff, man. Oh, okay, well soon to both guys. Yeah, all right. This has been the latest episode, and thank you to Shamar Parkinson for coming. Speaking of boss, thank you to Shamar Parkinson for coming on from Grab Belief in Division 4B. Now, like we always say every time, come on the show, chop it up with us. It's always a good time. This has been the latest episode of FlagPlus Football's First and Goal podcast. I'm Brent.
Quaysie.
We'll see you next time.
Peace.
Peace.